my neighbor.
Woohoo! That's right.
Hey, guys.
And welcome, misfits one and all, to this episode to Call Me Skeptical.
Operators are
Religion?
standing by.
That's right. Call now 1-800-THEIST.
If you call within the next 30 minutes, we'll double it.
Yes. We will
get
double
30 feet. Yeah.
30 feet. I was going to say they talk a lot about nothing. I was going to say we'll also double that. Double all amounts of nothing since the universe apparently came from.
Double the invisible product.
That's right.
There you go.
Double the Jesuses, Muhammad's, your Moseses and prophets. What is up? Woo-hoo! What is up, Jena? What
Hey,
is
Jena.
up, Farron?
God
equals
Farron,
the square root of
Marie
negative
Austin.
1. Maria Austin. Woo-hoo. All of you misfits out there on the interwebs, if you're feeling fancy, please don't forget to like, follow, or hey, why not subscribe? Because then you gain access to that bell icon, which when set to all will send you reminders to see our premieres, like the latest Ask Me Anything, which is about to record. Also, look, it's very important. She has to sharpen her claws.
She would hate to need them and they're not sharp, you know.
Exactly. You got to, just in case any prey comes around.
Prey, yeah, predators.
But yes, we are about to do a new Ask Me Anything this month. Hi, baby girl. You want to say hi to the interwebs? Woo!
Oh, hi, Penelope.
And we are also saying
Ryder
hi
came in to say hi
to the interwebs. What is up, Ryder? We love kitties, puppies. Doesn't matter which carnivore group. But thank you for joining us. And during our live show, feel free to tag James W. or myself at Amy Newman in chat. This will help us see your thoughts, questions, and of course your one-liners, because it makes us easier for us to see it. Furthermore,
it does.
We are a skeptic channel. Oh my, almost 15 feet, including the two schmucks that you see before you. However, Call Me Skeptical is specifically looking for views that don't agree with our own. So, if you fit the bill, the link to join the show will soon head into chat and on screen. Oh my. We also love people
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my. And definitely giraffes. You have to have them
For
on
the ark.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right next to the Tyrannosaurus Rexes and the Homo erectus.
Oh my.
Unicorns, then the Homo erectus.
I always like to be a little bit of Homo erectus. I feel like that is Ken Hovind. Once again, we did a breakdown. It's two funny words. You can't not. Though we are also looking for people who do agree with us, atheists, skeptics, and science-minded people. Though if you think the world is 6,000 years old, that evolution is a hoax, or that the world is flat, well, then OG Willingers, come speak to us right away. Tonight's housekeeping is sponsored by our channel members, who you can find in the description, along with our fantastic Patreons, who can be found at patreon.com/Amy Newman, including awesome Patreons like I was just seeing his first. They're coming for us.
Epistemology.
The lasers. Yes, I just saw Oz's first street epistemology. So sending love to Oz and the entire Tang gang at youtube.com/the Atheist Network Group.
Looked like he had a lot of fun.
Boom, boom. Exactly. And I'll be honest with you, I would love to do that. I have done that once or twice before, and it was maybe not as when I was refined with the Socratic method, so I would love to do that.
Brian Stevens.
Again. What is up, Brian Stevens? Sending love.
Different avatar, didn't recognize him.
I did see him in chat. I think it was either in Randolph's or T-Jumps, but I did see him, and I'm sending you love. And Sunflower, what is up? Sending love. Woo. And Yudoff, and all of the fantastic Skeptic crew, KCA, Randy, everybody, including Ian Davenport. Woo! Woo! Reminding us that a heart is not like a watch. Naturally occurring things are not the same as designed things.
Huh.
Like when your cat wants to go and explore. That's naturally occurring.
Like a painting in the woods. You stumbled across a painting and you didn't even see the painter. You don't know who painted it. Would you think it just came there on its own?
I would think that it came from a designer because that's where all the evidence came from. Oh. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things that have no evidence of design. So you have to contrast it.
But I do have to tell you, though, a book did say a thing.
A book said a thing. Holy.
He said he did it. And it's in a book, an old book.
You're going to make me have to post the emoji.
Yeah, you will.
So I can't help it. That is right. A book did say a thing.
Indeed.
Dun, 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 dun. Skeptic book. And also, I'm seeing now we have officially the first evolving
we hit
badges.
30 days. Yeah.
That's right. So we have our first going from vials into flasks, and they will continue to evolve.
Just like life on Earth?
Ooh, just like life on Earth. Yeah, well, life will, and that is the funny thing, because evolution is a fact of nature, it just occurs wherever life is, and will continue to occur as long as
James
life
Wolfe. Hey, James.
exists. Woo, what is up, yo? James Wolfe sending so much love. And Spooky and everyone, including a grumpy old cuss. Because when we hear these... sometimes you gotta pull. When you hear these
Sinister Porpoise.
absurd borderline flat Earth claims, they make us kind of go bleep, bleep, bleep.
Yeah.
Because 6,000 years, you're going to create the universe, galaxies, planets, life. Whew. That's a busy dude that seems to be MIA right now.
A lot of animals living on Earth all at the same time, you know?
And also sending love to Diana Smith, who reminds us that...
Gizmo.
And Gizmo, the producer! Woohoo!
He's always
and
getting
also,
into stuff. What are you doing, Gizmo?
That's cats are known for getting into things and knocking things over.
That they are.
That's why there is no flat Earth. And also sending love to Diana Smith, reminding us.
Thank you, Diana.
Well, the Abrahamic religions do not have a good track record with treating the 51% of humanity that well. Very spooky.
Smoky.
And Flum. Good
Hey,
morning.
Plum.
Good morning. Woohoo! Saying hi on the Twitchosphere as well.
Oh, on Twitch too. Dual
Gonna
streaming.
send that out there. In fact, I'll send Twitch, but then I will also StreamYard soon. And so I think what has been working for us is that we will give priority and maybe even early entry to anyone that disagrees with us. If you agree with us, you're a skeptic, an atheist, wait until we're done our openers. But pretty soon, yeah, that's right, we may be, picky. We may be sending that link into chat. But also sending love to Pat Lowinger as he's over there doing cough.
Still in the UK, I'm sure.
Science. And he reminds us that you can find him at youtube.com/biddybuddha_, where you can learn some shit. And he's done many fantastic episodes with us, including how sacredness came to be, which, surprise, it's kind of like bath fitter. They just conquer the old religion or assimilate them and, change the decor. And you got a new place, got new sacred items and a new sacred temple. And a very spooky Halloween episode. And all sorts of fun. And so sending love to Pat and also sending love to Dale Pastel. Woo-hoo, Dale.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Dale.
Reminding us that we are looking for empirical evidence. From Pat.
Did you find any yet?
I have not found any empirical. In fact, we were on Randolph Richardson's stream today.
Looking for evidence.
I should have given out a shout out, but this was my first time. I'll give a shout out beforehand that we were looking to be convinced by anyone who could give us evidence of a god or goddess. And surprise, none came.
Nobody came, huh?
So I was hoping. It felt good. Though we had a lot of good conversations, it was a fantastic
Everybody
stream.
had permission.
That's right, baby. So sending love to Randolph Richardson, JL, T-Jump, everybody on there. Peter, Taco. So many fantastic non-believers.
The Muslim metaphysician, was he on there?
No, he wasn't.
No,
it's so funny. I've had a good conversation with him that almost seemed to have left him a little bit dumbfounded. Yes, just because I have such strong anti-feelings against the contingency argument, and I think that it's like a magic trick that it only works if you do it on like strangers. If you do it over and over and over, till eventually the same schmuck is like, look, I can see the card, you have the thing, you're pulling it, and then when you have it over here, you're actually holding it with your thumb, and they're like, all right, leave, this doesn't, we want newbies. Not to say it wasn't a good conversation, it was just I think that God is contingent, and I think I had this conversation with one of the theists today. Gods are contingent on us. If we were to disappear, so would gods. Bacteria would not have concepts of gods. Life would still be here. It would not be the end of the world. It would not even be the end of life by a long shot. And yet, gods would be gone.
God would be lonely.
So lonely and gay. But also
he will make you fishers of men, right?
Oh my, that's right.
Amy likes to fancy herself as a fisher of men sometimes. Real men.
That's right. When you go to a gay bar. What are we talking about? Also sending love to Dave Gar, reminding us that, well, a lot of these texts are flat earth text, and it turns out that The earth is indeed round. Oh, what? Yes, Soros says we can push that concept.
He says it's
we
round.
gotta at least, yeah, we gotta be shilling for that. I normally have my NASA flag. I am also. We are both NASA shills. But sending love to
Pays
Dave
good.
Carr. Exactly. It's those scientists. That's where the big checks are, not religion, where they sell the invisible product.
Yeah.
Dave
Freemason.
Carr in chat. Woo!
Hey, Dave Carr.
And we are getting. Yes, he's telling us we indeed do not have to shut it down. We can continue.
What she's trying to say, Sunflower, is that God only exists in the minds of humans because humans made him up. So if all humans were to disappear, then God would disappear too because there would be nobody to think him up anymore.
Yes, because God exists in our brains, once our brains and our minds were to disappear, so too would the concepts. Plants would still exist, fungus, like really complex multicellular life would still be around, and yet animals would be gone, or at least humans would be gone, and so would their deities, at least in this scenario. Look, we're having happy conversations, but sometimes you gotta have the serial conversations. You have the contingency arguments. Not talking.
Yeah, she wasn't.
That's making an argument for God actually existing. Yes, the contingency argument is the reverse. It is making the argument that's saying that God is a necessary being. It's something that has to exist, and because it has to exist, we are dependent on God. And so, if God were to no longer exist, we would no longer exist. Sure, I get you. I get that is the contingency argument. I am making the opposite. I am saying God is actually contingent.
If we didn't exist,
on
we wouldn't exist.
Us.
Yeah.
Yes. But sending love. And also sending love to Scott Duke. We talk about this often. More often than you I get it. Oh, here's my empirical evidence. But also, we sound like PETA spokespeople. But I just don't understand why the fact that we are apes is so triggering. That seems to be a continual triggering moment, even though that is a biological fact.
We're not being paid by PETA, so we're not going to shill for them. If they want us to shill for them, they need to pay us.
Like, I've heard, I even agree with the vegan argument. I even agree that I have cognitive dissonance and a whole bunch of other things. I'm going to keep eating meat. I'm going to keep eating bacon. I think in 1,000 years, we will be the outdated opinion. I'm not even sure I can argue in favor of meat, other than the fact that I'm emotionally attached to it and raised in it and a whole bunch of other things. But food is an emotional, subjective freaking thing. Like, it has nothing to do with a dude watching us 24/7, 365.
Not at all.
Like, that is a factual claim about reality. It should be an empirical claim that used to be really obvious, but apparently he's playing hide and go seek now.
It's a game.
Can't refute the contingency argument, but I think you're making an error with the God is contingent on it. Well, I agree with you that I can't in some ways go before the universe. I'm not even sure if that is a coherent concept, and so I don't know. And yet I see many reasons to why a God or gods would be contingent on us. Like, it used to be that we thought that gods made lightning And it used to be that we thought that gods made diseases come and go. And
Animals.
and so it makes sense to me that we think, or religious people currently think, that gods make universes, and yet there's been no evidence that a god has ever had any effect or creation on any natural law. It's always been us discovering a fact about reality and us just recording it.
And then we don't need God anymore.
I mean, okay. What's up, Beck?
Hey,
Uncle Beck. Boom, boom, boom. Have done many fantastic podcasts with Beck. You should check out Beck's channel. You should check out Beck doing podcasts with student Dr. Ben, who is another amazing individual. You should check out the Atheist Experience, as well as our Tang Gang shows on LGBTQ plus Secular Ally, basically talk shows and all sorts of amazing non-believer content. Why aren't you checking it out?
Amazing.
James is he where he's like, they are. I'm like, okay.
They have to be.
Just
they
make
better be.
But sending love out there, same with Scott Duke, woo-hoo, and Answers
Scott
in Atheism, who, as well. And do you know why we can give these shout outs, basically endless shout outs to all these non-believers? Well,
better
out,
mufflers.
Yes. Well, it turns out that we don't have to have holy wars.
We just do it for fun.
Yeah.
We don't have a deity commanding us.
It's in weird ways, we're like cats and we are herding cats, and yet there's this weird purity, this release of baggage when you just don't have to pick one religion, one denomination out of thousands. It's just like, wow. They can't all be right, but they sure all can be wrong.
They can't all be wrong. Like, did you ever hear how Glenn Beck came to Mormonism?
How?
He said him and his wife sat down at a table one night, and I guess they were going to have kids, so they decided that they needed to pick a religion, so they just picked Mormonism out of it all. There you go.
Boom.
We got to pick one.
Got to pick one. It's like Pokemon. Why not
Yeah.
Mormonism? I like Farron shouting love out there. Whether the contingency argument gets evoked or not, a God does not exist.
Pro tip.
Pro tip, ladies and gentlemen.
That's like
I mean,
the Clippy from Microsoft Office that used to pop up and tell you when you're making a mistake.
Like the Game Informer magazines. I am that much of a geek. Got your pro tips from Pro Informers. Sponsored by Sugar Water, ladies and gentlemen. But sending love out there. Sending love. I see Jupiter Darman. Yes, Glenn Beck. Mr. Gumbit ain't taking my light bulb, so I'm going to create my own light bulb horde. Yeah.
You're going to buy these light bulbs that use like 5 times more electricity in the name of freedom. Freedom to waste
Kira?
money.
And Flum. Well, I will say most of these religious people, they love to give lip service to freedom as they're trying to take away freedom. But we'll just put that out there. Also sending love to Regis, who reminds us, and it's on doc, coming soon, ladies and gentlemen, more Deuteronomy, sending love to Regis, reminding us that the Bible kind of, stabs interfaith couples in the chest. And that was recently. That's like not even an old tip here, Fedora. That has happened recently in our Bible studies.
It'll probably happen again. Eventually.
Tribalism. So sending love to Regos.
Because, if you're just walking down the street and, somebody's over there in the corner, like, psst, you, come
Be
over here.
ashamed if something happened to you.
Come over. Hey, let's worship another god that's not Yahweh. Say, what? How could you say that? You shall surely be put to death. Kill him.
Okie dokie.
Somebody talk about worshiping other gods?
Look, there is no love like Christian love.
You still want to worship Baal? You still want to do that? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, we may have to stab you through the chest. But James, that's just the Old Testament.
Right.
Ooh, sending love, Sinister Porpoise. And also, sending love to the fabulous, the wonderful. I see her out there in chat. Sending love to Rachel.
Rachel, how you doing, Rachel?
Woo-hoo. Reminding us that the Bible would never take those interfaith couples and then, I don't know, force them into slavery. That would be terrible, because that would be, I don't know, objectively immoral.
If it was the bad slavery, yeah.
Exactly. They like to push it as the good slavery.
I mean, it's not slavery in the antebellum South. It's not the Atlantic slave trade. It's not the Atlantic slave trade. Exactly. Yeah, it's not that bad.
Even though the transatlantic slave trade quoted the Bible for a lot of their reasoning
to justify what they were doing, because the Bible says you can do that. Yeah. Go figure.
But sending love to Rachel Holland, and sending love Regos, who says he is watching and listening while working on some projects. Well, we are sending so much love to you, Regos and Rachel. Woo-hoo, that's right. Doesn't matter if you are in sweatpants, skirts, if you are eating ice cream.
Gavining it.
That's right. Gavin, are you working hard now? Oh.
If you're naked below the waist.
That's right. Gavin is working hard. I can't help but think of him and Praise as having just like this bad divorce. Mommy, Daddy, why are you having a divorce?
Yeah.
Well, because religion, ladies and gentlemen, they can't really agree on a lot of things, and so they eventually split.
I just won't go to, not last show, but the show before that, when we reviewed the UFO videos, and the guy had the UFO report, but he was holding it down right on his lap, and the camera had to zoom down right over the guy's crotch.
Oh my!
I can. Hopefully, Gavin doesn't see that. That'll give him an idea for his.
Give him too many ideas. Give him inspiration.
For his new video. Yeah.
He needs to make like a video
bet you
series.
Wish you could see what was behind this paper, don't you?
Pantsless and Pop It.
Yeah.
Needs to have like a whole series. Oh my! Oh, and I wish I could say I even have had good conversations. There was a point where I'd been like, but I've had good conversations with Gavin, so sending love out there. I've had mostly good conversations.
That's very charitable.
Until very like charitable. His last debate. He kind of started freaking out because
he started coming unraveled.
Brought his own PowerPoint. Speaking of peas, excuse me for more drinky drink.
Well.
Brought his own PowerPoint up on screen, and it said evidence of reincarnation. And we spent
it's evidence
minutes.
of God. It's not evidence of reincarnation. Stop saying reincarnation. It's evidence for God.
And yeah, he got to a point where he was like, stop saying evidence of reincarnation. Why are you saying that? And it's like, because it says it on screen. That's the title. I mean, those are the main words on screen. What the hell are you doing to me?
Well, the
Yeah.
dog ate my homework, and this is all I could come up with in 5 minutes before the debate. So, suck it, atheist.
Suck it, atheist. Can't even do it. There we go.
Yeah.
My PG-13 rated. But sending love to Regis, Rachel, and Senator Cato. Woo-hoo. Reminding us the church and state separation always important because it's never going to be your religious views in control. So maybe
Unless
you
it
should
is.
just yes. And we're not talking about state enforced atheism. They're always like hashtag commies. I get it. Even though both of us in here, we like trading. That's really all capitalism is you have a system to simplify trading. But whatever. What am I talking about? Senator Cato.
Yeah.
Trying to send love. Secularism is neutral. It is not atheist, theist. It doesn't take
Liberal,
any
conservative.
flavors. Yes, liberal or conservative.
Gay or straight.
It is
It
gay or
doesn't
straight.
matter.
It is just trying to take no position so
Neutrality.
that we can have neutral positions. But sending love to Senator Cato, and also James Wolfe, reminding
Saw
us.
him out there, hey, James.
And I'm pointing because Penelope, look at you. James Wolfe is reminding you that we do many late night podcasts. So many. And our midnight rantings tend to be very open mic. Our Call Me Skepticals are call-in shows. They're focused on we can have a special guest host, but generally we're looking for one person.
Got the Duke out there.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, Duke. What is up? I loved going into the Lion's Den. It was seriously, what do atheists like? They like debating. Let's be real. And what was that platform of politics, religion? It was endless people who just disagreed with us. And so
bring them on.
I could not have been happier. Exactly. I could not send more love to Randolph Taco, that entire panel, JL, T-Jump, also J Mike, who also comes on. He wasn't on today, but I love J Mike. Everyone. And so sending love. I'm so glad that you liked it, Scott Duke. I would like to continue joining as often as I can. They do it every other week. As Randolph says, a fortnight. So yes, sending love to Randolph, sending love to Scott Duke, sending love to James Wolfe. Woo! Who has really assisted us in the first Ask Me Anything. I hope everyone, like I said, all of the channel members, all of the Patreons, feel free to just right now, anytime, if you're thinking when's a good time, right now, send a question or a funny comment and just tag James or myself or whatever. Just say AMA, this AMA question or whatever, and we'll get it. And if you want to do it live, we'll do it live.
Do it live.
Yes.
We
will not be recording any of the. So we run the stream, but we will not be recording anything except for tagged questions.
Bill O'Reilly.
We'll not have a. I know, and look, tides go in, tides go out. How the hell can you explain that? But last but not least, sending love.
That down.
The galaxy. There are certain things that are just so FUCUS. What does that spell, James? A really good weekend.
We can't say that on television.
That's right. The FCC is going to come after us. But Matt Deeg said they love the universe in our hands.
Thanks, Matt.
Because creationists cannot explain how to create a galaxy, and so they will never live that down.
It's easy.
It's easy. That's right. Just add water. And all right. We are about to break into callers. So I think I'm going to send the link into chat while I do my opening statement. Because it won't be that long. And thus...
That's what she said.
That's right. He, she, they want to trigger as many creationists as I can. And oh my goddess.
Like when Jesus comes down and says his pronouns are them, they.
Yes. Well, and I got that even today. Someone said that God is male and genderless. It's like, welcome aboard. They joined Team Postmodernism so fast. Dave. Oh, I mean, I'm just trying to think if that was a question now. I'll just read it now because that's it. Do you, James, have a written business in the chance manage? I just want to see that. Yeah, I think we have like a non-verb. Don't know.
It's an informal.
But
we have arrangements worked out.
We do. I think we have something good going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we're excited because we are going to be doing lots more content. And we basically have a whole bunch of not only new shows, but we want to be doing more Debate Me Bras and all sorts of fun stuff. That being said, I'm going to send it into chat while I start my... I put the hot seat in. So, boo, 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 boo. And shmoo, 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 shmoo. With a Penelope by my side. Religion. The number one superstition in the world. That is to say, a non-rational or non-natural belief system. And I know that many theists will protest. It's organized religion. That's the real culprit. You know, people believing kooky beliefs is one thing, but lots of people in one place believing kooky beliefs. Whew. Well, now shit's gonna hit the fan. And sure, I agree. Institutional religion is some of the worst religion. Ritual, dogma, from a bunch of assholes who think they have direct lines to God. Not healthy, folks. But so too is good old-fashioned store-bought, bring it home, microwave it religion. Because it's not true. Or at least there is no good evidence that God exists. And it's one of the main reasons I'm an atheist. I lack belief in a God. Or anyone who can watch me 24/7, 365. Unless you're into that. Not gonna kink shame anyone. It's just that currently it doesn't seem like God is talking to anyone. In the Bronze Age, God was touring all the time, signing autographs, performing miracles, and fucking groupies. Or that's what his agent told me. Somehow, slowly but surely, with time and the march of scientific progress, God has done less one-on-one performances. And now, most often appears as Jesus in Aunt Kathy's toast. So, when I hear the word religion, I remind myself that while I'm not against theists, I am against theism. The notion that any mind independent of a physical brain could exist, and that such a being is the creator of the universe. Lofty claims. And most of these people are not wearing lab coats, but instead silly hats. Maybe we shouldn't be betting on them for answers to the universe. Thank you. And all right. Woo! James W., are you ready for a divinely good time?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's 44 minutes. Did you send the link yet?
I did, and I am pinning it.
Well, I just want to let everybody know before we get anybody on that this Tuesday we're going to be doing the after show for the Mark Reid versus Ken Hovind debate. That is going to be Tuesday night, so that will be a lot of fun. Be sure to come back on Tuesday for the big victory celebration after the debate. And then I have a debate coming up with Ken Hovind. Maybe next week. We may have to push it back to the week after. I got to see how the scheduling works out. But
And all right, that sounds good. Thank you so very much, James. Let's all check that out. And I'm excited for the after show. Sending love to Mark, Reid, and the debate with James and Gizmo. And all right, we got Scott Duke behind stage. I am going to send it back on.
You know we're on before midnight.
Stage and
we get daytime people.
That's right. But I do know that Scott is an atheist and a skeptic. So we are going to send the bat signal out there like Batman. Though I think he's one of those, just like Ness, that got self-triggered and left. He lasted like 10 minutes. Mr. Batman.
Oh, he came on?
Yeah, he's one of those just like Ness that lasted on the stream like
on
10
our
minutes.
Channel, or
I'm fairly sure he was a long time ago.
I didn't know if you were talking about this morning.
No. That would have been funny. Tangelo came on and talked about genetics like he does. Same shtick.
He did know Tangelo.
Yeah. He did know Tangelo.
Well,
I saw someone say he did an orange jello. He did an orange jello. Yeah. But we love all of our atheist brothers and sisters. And all right, we're going to bring Scott Duke on.
Let's bring Scott on.
And have our first Call Me Skeptical on religion. We are having some fun.
Am I supposed to talk now?
Yeah,
that's right. Welcome, Scott. What is up? Welcome
I want you to look at the top of my avatar there. That's the temperature it was this afternoon when I was out and about.
106 Fahrenheit.
106. Yeah, that's a Fahrenheit. Mm-hmm. So, and my air conditioner isn't keeping up with it. So it's been a bad day. So Amy, I want to talk about your conversation on the fortnightly YouTube stream. It's also on Discord too. But when you were talking to, I think it was either Otangelo. It was either Otangelo or the person after him. But there was a point where you were asking just a wonderful question that I wish I had more opportunities to address like you did. That you were pointing out something about something going on inside the gene, and you asked either, like I said, Otangelo or somebody similar, did God do that? Is it God doing that? Who's doing that? And I don't think they ever answered you on that.
No.
But that is the perfect setup because and that's exactly how I would put it if I was as awesome as you, because because basically they either answer, yes, that's specifically God doing it. And then you can point out, no, it's this chemical attaching to this chemical. How do you see God doing it? All we do is see the chemicals. Or they might be saying, no, God isn't doing it. In which case you can say, that's the scientific method right there. That's methodological naturalism. And that was just a great approach, and I just have to say how impressed I was.
Thank you. What I have noticed, one of their approaches is they like to leave an answer open and not fill it, because they're always like, genes, it's writing, it's designing, but they forget to, or no, I should say, they purposely maybe leave out that the actual writer of the genes would be the actual chemical compositions. It would be the genetics. It wouldn't be a God. And he tried to, at the very end, speak about abiogenesis.
Yeah, it's these are amino acids coming together, and of course I am not a geneticist. I am not an organic chemist or whatever, but it's a bunch of ooey gooey chemicals slapping themselves together according to certain principles of chemistry, and that's what genetics is. There's no God necessary, no God involved, and they have yet to demonstrate that there is a God needed in all of this explanation.
And I also think I gave a succinct answer to which he said no and almost repeated what I said and then
I
didn't
remember
answer
that.
my question, which was like, I was like, because he asked me what genetics were, and I was like, it is this chemical language of ACGT, and we use these 4 letters to create 3-word codons, and these codons are what actually go in and build things in our body. And I said, and I just wanted to know, is that a supernatural
She
process?
just wanted to know.
And
Yep.
it didn't get an answer.
You said
That's
codon,
the
so
thing
John
is-
Maddox inevitably showed right up, right?
Well, and it's funny, ever since I've been trying to learn more about genetics, because there are 2 routes that they tend to go. It tends to go the young Earth model and the precept model, and the young Earth model tends to be very genetics heavy. And so I have been trying to, and the more I learn about genetics, the more I realize the creationists are full of it.
Yeah.
That's it. It just goes over the head of most people, and they know that, so they feel like
Right.
they can play fast and loose with that.
There's always one level of research above what you're being told that you have to go to in order to be skeptical and not be a lazy skeptic. See, it's easy to be lazy, so very easy. And what you have to do is, when they say genetics this, genetics that, therefore God, or therefore a designer, because sometimes they'll avoid saying the word God, you have to go and read the papers and ask people
They know
in the
most people
know.
won't.
Because there's this broad context that's so important that I'm not privy to, and so you can always bring down information from the greater academic world, and you're always going to be playing catch up.
And that was another important thing that I wanted to do, was to actually Google his paper, because he was quote mining. He was using 2 different things. He was using one article that was there was some loose language even in that one peer-reviewed article, but yes, but
I can't
even
believe
then,
Otangelo would quote mine a scientific paper.
What?
That is just that
Um,
blows my mind, really.
But then he was using another blog that was quoting someone else, was quoting von Newman, that was trying to say that life just looks it's so amazing that
It's a miracle.
It looks like a miracle.
Yeah.
And
well, with
like when Bill
Otangelo,
Gates says DNA is too advanced beyond what we can code and whatever.
I have tried to follow Otangelo's links back to his website that he maintains. He maintains a blog or a forum or something. And it is, once you get in there,
this is definitely science.com.
Yeah, it's a mishmash of stuff he's grabbed and just posted in there out of context. Some of the links don't go to the. They're just kind of like fused together.
Increase the Flash Gordon noise and put up more science stuff.
Yeah, and so it's hard to follow him, and I think that's by design and convenience. The only thing designed about all this is Otangelo's blog. It's designed to confuse and obfuscate.
Well, I always say there are 2 different goals. A scientist's goal is to convey information. A creationist goal is to sound technical.
Okay, so did I describe your argument there adequately? Was that the argument you were trying to make? What I was describing initially when I first came on?
Yeah, I think that was what I was trying to get at, in that they basically say it's a design, but who is it designed to? They always leave that off. They always go ... But the actual designer, if they were to really follow their analogy through, would just be the genes, and then they would have to admit the possibility that it's a completely natural process, and
Right.
so they
And
don't want to follow through with that.
that's right. Any
It's just not
any
the
place
special
where you would
pleading,
invoke
Amy.
God is unnecessary. You just don't need God to explain what goes on in biology, and that's the thing. It could be designed. There could be this whole level of reality where God really is designing things, blah blah blah, or starting them up and letting them go, maybe. But you can't detect it inside a scientific inquiry.
Well, like the way it's set up is that a god could have done it that way, but it's the only way evolution could have done it. Like God could
Yeah.
have done it any way he wanted because he could do magic, he can poof whatever he wants, but he just happened to pick the way of doing it, which is the only way that it could happen naturally.
Yeah, and
It's not like the natural world doesn't have options. It just has matter and energy and applies physics to it. It can only do what it can do, and it sure looks like that's what happened.
Well, I'll get off now and let other people hop on. I just wanted to say
Thank you
great
so
job
much,
today,
Scott.
and I just love it when you guys come in and it's not midnight yet, and I can actually speak words to you.
Well, it was great having you on,
have you
Scott
on,
Duke,
Scott.
and that's right. We got on before we turn into werewolves.
Woo-hoo. Of course, that's exciting too. So why don't you do at least record yourselves turning into werewolves? So y'all have a great evening.
Soros
Have a good night, Scott.
Good night, Scott. Mwah. And all right.
You gotta pay more for that.
That's right. That's at the girl deck level. We are going to talk about the subject. We'll just keep on ranting and raving. I mean, not being fans of religion is kind of our bread and butter, but we will send the link out into stream. If you disagree with us, if you think religion is a good thing, a positive thing, why not tell us why?
Anything while we're waiting for a caller, anything else come to mind from this morning?
Trying to
Anything
think.
stand out?
I had a conversation which was just odd in that it ended up being an atheist. He probably said it very early on, but it was almost like he was trying to play devil's advocate, which I guess is great. He seemed like a nice guy, but he might as well just be on our team anyway. Because I was very much, we got into divine command theory, and it makes you say silly things. Like, he made a statement like, well, what makes smashing babies against rocks bad? And you're like,
back to questions of morality and things like that.
Which I just don't get to migrate. What is up, student Dr. Ben? Sending us so much love. You should check this gentleman out everywhere. He is a member of Tang Gang. He is on ACA content. Go check him out on the Atheist Experience. Go check him with J Mike, another fabulous gentleman. Go check him out with Uncle Beck. So much love. And so much triggering. Like, oh my god, that's the other takeaway. Like, I'll be even better. I couldn't help myself in debating the people in chat. I almost feel bad with Randolph because you really should be focusing completely on the debate. But though you do have some downtime when you want to give some of your other atheists, because we're all looking to have fun question time. Someone even say I ask a lot of questions, but they were just so triggered by me being transgender. Like, they talk about how they hate talking about identity politics, and they just pull.
That's all they want to talk about.
All they want to talk about.
Culture war, identity politics.
Exactly. And like, which it has become a stronger position to attack me to attack on because it's become my armor. Because the moment I feel like they're making moves towards my gender or sexuality, I'm like, oh shit, they have no idea how to defend their religious beliefs. Like, they are pushed into such a corner that they're just staring at my junk and like, but there and stuff.
But you have a PP.
I'm like, yes, I know. I've checked your browser history. We can get through that, but let's talk about
we'll get through it together.
Exactly. We'll hold hands.
It's not
we'll
like
get through
little
this together.
PP though.
Oh my. Well, I will say that is the syndrome that I swear that I sometimes deal with among these gentlemen that I talk to. But
these wannabe alphas,
like they're so self-triggered. And so it's just like just the topics we're talking about, a guy that's going to possibly burn us forever and ever and ever. And they're like, yeah, but T-girl titties. I'm like, all right, whatever. Whatever, dude.
Elliot Page.
It really is. There is a time and place for that. If you are on the Transatlantic Call-In Show, another fantastic place you should be checking out. Cool. That is a place where you should be talking about. If you're on our show, sometimes we even do gender-related subjects. Every once in a blue moon.
Once in a while.
Yeah. Come talk about it. But if
when are you going to be back on Tang with for your LGBT stream?
Once a month. I gotta look. I think they've been having the Better event and all that, but I have to talk with the true queen of non-believers out there. Jena is who I need to be because
coordinating.
She's like the Peter of Tang. But sending so much love. Also, Reservoir Guar says, you are such a funny puzzle. Oh, thank you. One of those people you feel like you already know, and so engaging and amusing of these topics you cover. Woo! Sending so much love right back to you, Reservoir Guar.
Thanks, Reservoir.
Go watch Transatlantic Call-In Show. Go trigger as many creationists as we can.
It's it works. It really works, but they kind of do it to themselves. Yeah.
They do.
Like Ken Hovind's first debate, he debated Atheist Jr. a year ago, and all this time, a year later, and it's like the first thing he wants to say is, I was on his channel. Did you know that Atheist Jr. is bi? Like, no, he really is bi.
Why, Kent? Are you looking for a date?
It's like, but Kent, the debate's about evolution. Why are you talking about his personal life? Who cares?
And I will say, I was going back and forth playing producer mode, but I should have stressed harder, and I will stress now that is disgusting. And once again, can you imagine if a secular person, if an atheist or an agnostic, they would be shunned from our community? It almost never happens, but one topic at a time. I know, but from basically Lord Gishgallop. But if we were ever to be that nasty, if we were ever to be like, listen, theists are theists because they're stupid and unintelligent and low IQ and all this stuff, we would rightfully be called out by the atheist, non-believer, skeptic community. Mm-hmm. And yet hear this shit all damn day from the other side. Woo-hoo, sending love to the watcher who is saying I'm a little late to the show, but anyway, What's up, Amy? Woo-hoo! Sending so much love. And we are talking religion tonight. It is our classic, like James and I were saying, our bread and butter. We are having a bunch of fun because we are atheists, agnostic, non-believers, and don't believe in religion.
Among other things.
Among other things. Well, and to us, it's just the largest superstition out there. That there are many superstitions, crystals, astrology. I need to get a Ouija board. That's
Psychics,
on my list of props.
Astrologers, psychics, homeopathy, chiropractic in a lot of ways.
Yeah, chiropractic, acupuncture.
Oh.
How many people can we trigger at once? I mean, but it is. I don't care. And some of these things actually lean liberal or left, and some of these things lean right. It doesn't matter. It's not a political thing.
It's not about right or left. It's about right versus wrong.
And honestly, before COVID, I used to say anti-vaccines because as like trying to like boost my point that like the liberals, even on here on the far left, are anti-vaccine. That now has been usurped by the far right on COVID, but that used to be. So now we can all agree that if you're anti-vaccine, you're stupid, silly. I see. That's I shouldn't say because it is. It's not that. You are being irrational in a single position, because it could be that, like, how to do amazing things. You know how to catch trout. You know how to hunt.
Well,
you know how to do. I'm trying to think of some amazing other things that I don't know how to do.
You do have to acknowledge, though, that some of the anti-vaxxers, anyway, they can make an argument that to somebody who isn't informed, it might sound very good. Like if you just watch one of their presentations, they're throwing things out at you. It might sound like they're making points or they know what they're talking about. It's just how not everybody's critically thinking
what they do, and this is the same with a flat earther, is because this is their shtick. This is the thing that they, just like on Tangelo, when you get a certain amount of terminology, you can sound like you are very sophisticated in a field without actually having really any expertise at all.
Yeah.
So I want to just send a double shout out to the Watcher. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, Watcher,
for the support. We put it right back into the show. I think maybe while we're talking, I'm just going to set up this Debate Me Bra list. We'll do it live, folks. We'll keep on we'll keep on sending the stream. We got
thank you, Roger.
You Sinister backstage and Roger Shrum sending so much love. $5 super chat, sending hearts and kisses to one of my favorite streams. Ooh. Well,
maybe we should start having Amy get up and do a little twirl when we get a super chat.
You see, now you're just tempting me. Yeah. But I really do just want to send hearts and then kisses back to the lovely Roger Shrum.
Appreciated. It helps.
It is. Well, and our goal, once again, we're being silly, but not irrational or in the supernatural. I want one day to have a studio to which not only James and I can create content, but Gizmo and I, as producers, can host a whole bunch of other shows, and so that we can really
we
can actually have a bunch of whole supported non-believers out there sending love. Brian
we can do
Stevens.
Our own conventions. We can Yeah.
I like to think we're tucking you into bed right now.
Thanks. Good night, Brian.
But yes, exactly. We around 3,000 to 5,000 subs.
Is it good
I would like to
shooting
start a
for?
convention. We have had a great turnout so far with just our user to active live chat ratio and even some great views. And so we really want to thank all of our viewers and all of the active supporters out there. We're going to keep on sending it back. And then, as we continue to grow,
I mean,
we will give it right back to you.
If you think about it, we're still small players, even on the atheist sphere of the debate community. But Mark Reid's debating Ken Hovind, and we're going to be doing the after show, and that's pretty damn cool. I mean, we've been doing this for about a year and a half, roughly, and from those first few streams, talking to ourselves for a lot of the time, but.
Exactly. Well, it's the same thing with sending love to the Twitchospheres. We were sending love to no one. Now we're actually gaining people on Twitch. I've almost been tempted to possibly do Twitch and debate. What is up, the Watcher? $10 sending. How neutral would you say you are, Amy? There's things like conservatives want their guns. I'm for it. But then go mention vaccines to them, and it all goes to crap. IMO, in my opinion. And so James knows that I have been recently, because of I lean towards freedom in most positions. Almost, even with vaccines, I go 50-50 because there's a little bit of a George Carlin bent to me that says don't mandate it, just let them natural select themselves out of the environment. Now, I've heard from other skeptics, other non-believers that make a good case why it should be mandated, because it's
a hard question.
Could be hurting other people. Yeah, it gets tricky. But I
don't really think it should be universally mandated either.
But I have a really comedic bent on that view, and when it comes to guns, so I'm also very weird. People probably wouldn't know this about me from just the look at me, but I have a little bit of a survivalist bent to me. Even though I don't think that the world will end at all, I think that well, let me state this: the world will end in 4.5 billion years. We are about halfway through it. But I don't think that the apocalypse, the human apocalypse, is actually upon us. Yet I am one of the biggest supporters of self-defense. I have spray on my what's it called? What the hell is I'm losing my mind? Yeah, but there's a pepper spray. I have pepper spray. I have equivalent non-lethal weapons that I carry with me. I have one day I may even carry a firearm. I already am, I know the four because it drives me crazy when I see people walking around and they have their finger. You shouldn't have your finger on the trigger. You shouldn't be targeting anything. You shouldn't
gun
be
safety. You mean?
Yes, those are more important than all of this stuff. And so, yet I also have nuance. I don't think you should have a rocket launcher and all this, but I don't care as long as you are willing to not take other people's freedoms away, which is I won't go too far. Which I think is what some people are doing in this country. Cough, judges. So I lean towards freedom. I think that, though I still think that there are some positions, even when you do lean towards freedom, you know, I clearly think that not getting a vaccine is stupid. I feel like I can use that word. You are being dumb. All of the evidence leans in one direction. I don't know what to say.
I would say from a rule of law perspective, Second Amendment's in the Constitution. I think it's the law. I support it. I think if you want to amend the Constitution, take it out, try. But I don't think it's going to. I don't think you're going to have much luck with that.
And we're about to get the Sinister Porpoise in, though we're going to keep on trying. I mean, Sinister is, of course, a lovely either an atheist, I know at least an agnostic, non-believer, skeptic. And so we need some people that disagree with us. We are talking, call me skeptical, religion. And I will bring just the last comment. Have you thought about making a bushcraft camping series? Love to see you yourself, James, surviving the. I will say I've seen. That's funny. I love camping. I actually have seen a lot of those videos where they create huts and different types of You're
a Bear Grylls fan.
Well,
Les Stroud.
They're just fascinating. Just how to live in the without much supplies, using different types of. I used to have what's it called? Like the blankets that reflect and all sorts. Blanket. You can make camping tents out of them. But before I get an axe and start camping, we're gonna get Sinister Porpoise in here. Where's my small weapons?
I think she's ready.
I got a hammer ready. I have all my supplies ready.
A meat cleaver.
Where's my other axe? There we go. There we go.
Is that SpongeBob in the background up on the
That
wall?
is SpongeBob Imagination back there, right next to my dumpster fire.
Somebody debated last week, had a Patrick figurine, and the thing Kent didn't know what it was because he says he's never actually watched the SpongeBob episode.
Yeah, that does surprise me.
I just heard somebody say SpongeBob Imagination, so I just went with that.
I consistently make fun of him for that. I mean, that show was made from a biologist, so good job, Kent. You're amazing at making fun of science.
Are the Homo erectus in the people kind, the human kind? Yes.
Oh my.
Yes, they are.
And all right, we are bringing on the Sinister Porpoise. We are sending love, and we are calling me skeptical.
She's looking extra sinister
religion.
Tonight.
Oh my. Oh, wrong. Listen, sometimes I press the wrong magical.
Where's Raw Matt's like chicken sound effect? We need to play that or the dope.
There we go.
Welcome back, Sinister.
What is up, Sinister Porpoise? We are sending love, and we are calling me skeptical on religion. How are you doing, and what are your thoughts?
I am well. I just want to say, Sunflower, you've been arguing about mitochondrial Eve and Y chromosome Adam all night in the chat. Why not come on? Also, I was promised hats earlier, and no one showed up.
Promised hats.
I mean, I thought that was kind of about. I thought that needed to be corrected.
There she goes.
It's the best I can do.
In any case, I thought religion kind of does a disservice to LGBT people in general. And I also noticed this with the Republican. Also love that hat. Better if it weren't a football team, but.
Super Bowl champions.
Hey, I remember the year the Eagles won. I told my brother-in-law once.
Are you an Eagles fan?
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Yes, I'm from
You
Pennsylvania
should be a
too.
Steelers fan.
Random
I
camaraderie.
mean, why go with the Eagles when you've got a perfectly good team like the Steelers?
Well, I was going to say I have to pretend to be an Eagles fan when I'm at home.
Oh,
They'll root for the Steelers when they're in the Super Bowl, but
Okay.
it's like which side of the Appalachians you're on. If you're closer to Philadelphia, you root for the Eagles. If you're closer to Pittsburgh, you root for the Steelers. And you root for the Nittany Lions.
I haven't had good luck with Pittsburgh, but we'll let that go.
But I think you do a disservice when you try to alienate trans people like you do. I think politically the Republicans are making the same mistake too, because there are issues that trans people actually tend to be more on the side, at least in my experience, of the more conservatives, especially on things like gun issues. Not to mention, not that aren't liberal or leftist, but it's like, if you're going to, like the NRA going against trans people, it's like, a lot of trans people own guns because they're afraid of people like you.
yeah.
And they support gun rights. Sorry, go ahead.
When they try to veer off into other issues, like try to make themselves like an all-encompassing thing. If you're the NRA, you should probably just focus on gun rights.
Well, the NRA has an interesting history. What are you doing? I think there's a cat behind me now.
We support
Most
all
likely.
cats.
And one of the things religion does is, because it tends towards a black and white thinking, I think, that's kind of dangerous, especially, and maybe this is just because I'm a former Mormon, where it's really bad. But one of the things that really causes, especially autistic people or people on the spectrum, to break away from it is if you're given a black and white test and you're getting bitten in the arm by a cat who apparently wants attention, and the test fails. Why don't you come up, Athena? You're going to have to reject the test. It's just that simple. Ow!
Aww.
And someone in chat, sorry.
That's Ralph.
Someone in chat mentioned earlier that all people should come on wearing pants tonight. I would like to say, when I stream on my own channel, I'm often wearing skirts or dresses, not pants.
Woo-hoo. That's right. It's time to wear skirts.
She needs like pom-poms.
That's right. I am an atheist cheerleader, ladies and gentlemen.
For Matt Dillahunty, just cheer him on the sidelines.
Hey, listen, I will let Arden do her thing, sending as much love to Matt and Arden as possible. They are a
They seem happy.
fantastic couple. They
Seem
do.
happy.
Oh, you might immune yourself, Sinister.
Probably the cat
That might be too.
stepped on the mute button.
That's okay.
She's
We still
muted.
can't hear you, but we completely understand because it's kids. And we'll keep on talking. In fact, we'll send love out there and we'll tell you when. Wait.
Ow!
Yes, because we
she
heard
goes.
it now. Sending love to Norfolk and Beamsy and Doorknob Head and
Beamsy.
Shane Bilowitz and Dowling Thomas.
Ralph.
Woo! And Ralph.
King
Yeah.
Ralph.
Like I said, come on in. They'll treat you better than I probably would on my channel if you were disagreeing with me, which is why I tend not to do debates. But it's also just a matter of you have to know yourself before doing them. And what was I going to say? Apparently,
You should have
a
ended
cat's
that
been
with Jedi. You must know yourself before you move forward, Jedi, or something.
Well, just remember, only assist deals in absolutes.
That's
Don't do it, Anakin.
Oh,
you
see,
can hear
now
her
they're
purring.
happy. I know.
She's all wound up.
She probably wants me to go to sleep and attack my feet, but because cats do like habit and routine.
She just climbs over you.
Well, I don't
See ya.
really like. I really don't like forcing her into a. I really don't like forcing her to hold her. But we've all had our own experience with religion, and if you think it's a good thing, I want to hear why. I mean, not everything religion does is bad. I'm certain you can bring up good things religion has done, like
Sure.
soup kitchens, the crusade. No, not the Crusades. Bad example. Or even
Hospitals, they do hospitals too.
hospitals, charity work.
Yeah.
I mean,
they always bring up the charity. Do you know who does more charity than anyone else?
Well, we can discuss the strings attached. Hi.
Indeed, and you never see
tax write-offs.
or you never see the receipt. You never 20% of that went to helping children, 80% went to this sick ass organ that we got for the church. But
the Watcher.
Well, I think in a lot of countries, and not in the U.S., strangely enough, churches are forced to disclose where their money goes. And I know one of the biggest controversies with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, especially after that $100 million or whatever it was found right before Christmas one year, was where is their money going because they don't have to keep books. Most people suspect it's going into their temples, which are just usually ugly, ugly buildings.
Also, I'm going to interrupt
ugly
you
buildings, though.
To send love to the Watcher, who sends another $10 super chat saying, Amy, how high is your cat? Am I tripping?
That is the question. How high?
Hasn't moved an inch. That's right. Penelope is kind of zoning right now. We got a yawn. She's a good girl. Sending so much love to Penelope and the Watcher and Gizmo, our producer. Well, it's understandable.
He's been on the job.
So much graphics. Watcher's like, they moved. Yeah, no, and she's normally watching cat TV or moving around, but it's been a long day. It's hard being a queen, and so she's got to take a nap.
There you go.
Actually, that's true, Shane. A lot of universities do have religious origins, but a lot of universities have origins that you may not really expect. Like the university I'm going to was originally called the Normal School because it was a school for teachers of non-disabled students. And if you think about that, yes, that's ableist, but it's just what the history of the institution was.
Yeah, I mean, got Notre Dame, Pepperdine, they're founded by religious institutions. And
there are still very good religious schools you can go to today. I think like Wheaton in Chicago, University of Notre Dame. Oxford, I think, was founded by the Catholic Church.
You could go to Wheaton. The only thing is when you go into their geology department, you will not hear flood geology. They are going to teach you actual geology.
I was going to say you could go to Wheaton, but will Wheaton?
Brigham Young has Brigham Young University has a great business.
BYU business program
has a great business program.
Yeah.
Although it has some very interesting ideas about how to get around the honor code.
Oh my.
I don't know if anyone remembers that story. Where students were trying to figure out how. This was recent and I can't remember what it was called. Am I allowed to go into more adult details or? Because this is
as long as you do not break the TOS.
Right. Jupiter, just another Star Trek references.
BYU students were trying to figure out how not to break the honor code and still basically get busy with each other. So they came up with this really elaborate technique that would allow them essentially to climax without violating the letter of the agreement. And I wish I could remember its name because they had a specific name for it.
Was it the good girl implications?
The girl deck.
Hey, the Mormons could actually do themselves a favor and change their theology pretty easily to say God just wants to put female spirits in male bodies and vice versa sometimes, and that would explain away trans people. But
Just let me do
Ralph
it.
wants
Let
to know
me
why
do
you
it.
left the Mormon Church.
why did I left the Mormon Church?
I think that's what he's asking.
I believe there's a story on Neil the 604 or there's a stream on Neil the 604 Atheist channel that explains that. Because usually when you leave a religion, it's not a single thing. It's a lot of things building up.
That's true.
But why I won't go back has a lot to do with the church's history not matching what I was told.
Mormon, it's just so funny. Like they have like their own archaeologists who go out and try to defend like the claims from the Book of Mormon. Like, oh, we found all this evidence of all these cities in the Book of Mormon. Really? Yeah, we did.
Listen, one of the things that will convince me the Book of Mormon might be true is a Bronze Age wooden submarine.
For migrating the people.
And we will all live in it too.
Would it be painted yellow?
Yes.
I don't think the paint was ever an important detail in either of the stories in the Book of Mormon where the boats are built.
Well, he'll have to check his hat to make sure. I always like, this is his version of science. It's like, all right, we got it. I'm looking. Here we go. Oh, yeah, no, totally. It says I need to have sex with your wife. We got this.
One of these days, I think Aaron Ra is going to do it, but I probably should do a Doctrine and Covenants stream going through all the ridiculous, clearly cultist stuff that you can see if you're not convinced that it's a holy book.
In the Book of Mormon?
Yes. No, Doctrine and Covenants.
Oh, okay.
The Book of Mormon is just Protestant Christianity from the 19th century. It really just is. But the Doctrine and Covenants is where Joseph Smith tries to justify a lot of his stuff. So like one of the early chapters, he's telling Martin Harris that the Lord commanded Martin Harris to pay for the publication of the Book of Mormon because Martin Harris has money.
The root of all religion. Money.
We have to censor that.
He's had a busy day.
Yeah.
Cats do things like that.
They certainly do. They like to stay clean. I don't think R. Kelly went to Wheaton College, but
and we also have the problem
going to some sort of institution.
The 30-year plan, yeah.
The federal U. Federal, probably state. Because I don't think never mind, it doesn't matter.
No, he's federal. It's federal.
And we also have the problem. We also have a problem right now where religion is discouraging people from getting an education.
Oh, they've always been. Many of them have been anti-education because it goes hand in hand with the anti-science. It's like peanut butter and chocolate. That's why they like to homeschool, because public school will teach you evolution and thus teach you how to be a gay communist. I think that's how it goes.
And how to turn the frogs gay in biology class.
Turn frogs gay.
Listen, why do they say I'm a gay communist like it's a bad thing?
Own it. Just, yeah. Don't let them get you down. Just own it. Lean into it.
I really wish the person would come back and discuss why chromosome Adam, mitochondria Eve, because maybe I'm misunderstanding their argument.
Let's talk about sunflower.
Yes.
For daring to poke a hornet's nest, what was Sunflower saying?
I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding them, but I think she was saying there had to be one human mitochondrial Eve.
One mitochondrial Eve. Well,
and then going back to Noah's wife, too. That would be the most recent mother of everybody.
Are you sure about that? Because Noah had a wife, and
Noah's wife.
Yeah, that
We
would
all
be.
know his kids.
In the story. We'll put an asterisk on that in the story. Because Noah didn't exist.
But I'm pretty sure you can have multiple mitochondrial Eves, and while all extant human lines will be to this most recent one, if you go beyond that, you may have lines that have died out since then. And I think you can go beyond humans. But as I was trying to bring up, I am being attacked by a cat again. I'm not studying biology. I'm studying computer science right now, like either a semester or a semester half away from my bachelor's degree, and this isn't my area. So if someone knows what they're talking about, come on too, because maybe I've misunderstood her.
I'm sure you were giving valuable information. That'd be my bet. As much as I love Sunflower. I love Sunflower too. I love all of our theist brothers and sisters, atheists, theists.
He gets a little high strung sometimes.
Sinister, I want to give you a last a wrap up. We have been calling me skeptical on religion. What are your thoughts on the topic?
I think it depends on the religion, because some I'm less skeptical on others, like the lesser salvation vehicle of Buddhism really just doesn't have that much to argue with. Neither does philosophical Taoism. Even though you have to accept some mysticism, it's probably not going to go out and cause you to form some cult. The problem comes with with authoritarian religions like Christianity, Judaism, depending on the branch, Islam. And I don't know, maybe even some sects of Hinduism and Sikhism. I just don't know that much about them. Although Sikhism tends to be more supportive of freedom than you might think.
I could see it in Hinduism, yeah.
Freedom.
Athena, stop that. I'm trying to find... You probably already hid the SD card for that lost that picture of the eagle. The SD card holder is not for kitties to play with. I'll play with my trans buttons.
You know what Gizmo's favorite thing to play with is if you take the squishy things off the earbuds, he will bat that around on the floor and just attack it, and it'll go flying, then he'll pounce on it. Yeah.
So
I have to keep earbuds away from him, or otherwise I won't have any to use.
So yeah, religion can have harmful effects especially if you're going to insist that religion is always right. If it's just a framework to help us interact and live with each other, that's fine, but maybe we should strip all the unnecessary parts away from religion and get rid of the dogmas.
Like the Unitarian Universalists that...
With that being said, just feel free to come in. These people are cool. Be excellent to each other. And so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Thank you so much, the Watcher, again.
Thank you so very much, Sinister. It was lovely having you on.
Thank you, Sinister.
And now I'm just imagining you as a dolphin with a laser beam being transported to, I guess, another galaxy. That's where they went?
In another dimension.
Well, thank you, Sinister, and thank you for calling us skeptical.
Thanks, Sinister.
All right, I think we have sending so much love to the Watcher. Who says my thoughts on religion is people didn't know any better. So just give them eternal afterlife punishment BS, and they ate it up like bread. Yeah, I mean, it seems that there has been a long fear of death. And so I think it has been a fantastic coping mechanism. It's not fun to admit that we're mortals. And so I think Christianity and Islam and Zoroastrianism have found this release.
like Christopher Hitchens said, it's not that the party's over. The party goes on. You're just not invited anymore.
Indeed, which is sad.
It
And
is very
so
sad.
what I would say is you got to focus on the fact that it's about the journey, not about the destination, that there's a lot to look forward to in life. I know my tongue gets tied every time. Zoroastrianism.
But the thing is,
oh, baby.
As useful
girl,
as
I know.
an afterlife and eternal life is at alleviating the fear of death, about promising people things that you have no way to promise them, but just promising them anyway. But so I guess that wasn't even enough to win everybody over. So then they had to come up with this alternative thing. Well, okay, if you don't want our afterlife, okay, but you don't just die. No, God will do mean things to you after you're dead forever.
Exactly.
And that was more of the
fun's just begun,
which is the same logic a rapist would use.
A supervillain.
It negates any element of free will or goodness in God. It just yeah.
Yep. Yep, we are sending love to Penelope.
You could say, hey,
such a cutie booty.
It's just like somebody saying, okay, well, if you don't want to be with me, if you don't want to worship me, well, then you don't just go on your own way. No, I'm going to kill you. You're not going to worship anybody. It's either me or nothing. It's,
I will say I love this sports hat. I saw the original red and white version from Norm Macdonald, but it wasn't his hat. He just bought a random, I think it was from Amazon, and it comes in 4 different colors. It comes in like a red and white, a blue and yellow, a green and brown, and a black and white, something like that. So go check that out. Sending love, the Watcher, one last time. Thank you so very much,
for
the support. And yeah, I mean, it's the carrot and the stick. Yeah, it's hard to have one without the other. And the logistics are always crappy. The Muslims, the Mormons, they add a little bit more texture, but if you really try and dig down, it's like a house of cards. You start to pull them.
It's like, Amy, no, God's not going to force you to worship him. He only wants people to worship him if it's what they want to do. They have to voluntarily choose to love him with their free will. And he is not going to force you, Amy. He's not going to coerce you. He will not make you worship him, because he could do that. He could just say poof, and you would instantly fall on your knees and start praising God forever.
But see,
he doesn't want to do that.
I have never got, and I like this. Ralph's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it never explains, okay, where do the baby's free will that are getting drowned come in? Do they get a choice in this? It just seems like the only decision is to drown. Yes.
Let's see, what could they say? Well, then if they're babies, then God won't send them to hell anyway. So they're fine. They were better off. God took them to a better place. They didn't have to be born into an evil, sinful world. Right. Where they would most likely be victimized, brutalized, and killed by the savages that lived here at the time. So they just went straight to heaven, right?
Who's to blame for religion? You guessed it. Frank Stallone. God damn.
But the thing with that, Ralph, is the other side of that coin is, while God's telling you this, he does have a gun to the back of your head, and he's telling you you have to do it voluntarily of your own free will. I don't want to force you. I'm not going to make you worship me. It's up to you. You choose. What do you want to do? Do you want to worship me forever? Oh, okay. I'm just saying, I mean, if you say no, I mean, I'll do what I have to do, but I would like you to say yes. but I won't force you to say yes. It's no compulsion, but the gun is loaded, and he will not hesitate to pull the trigger because he loves you.
Exactly. He loves you. Just
loves
don't
you.
make him hurt you. I
God loveth
holding-
who he chase,
This is
who he
me
chastises.
being the mafia boss that just wants to convince you to listen to me. You wouldn't want to make me angry, would you?
Because Amy, if you're a Christian and you do something like if you do commit a sin or you do something wrong, don't tell the preacher I said a Christian sin, but then something bad might happen in your life or something would befall you. And that's really the hand of God because he is trying to make you realize what you're doing is wrong and he wants you to come back to him. So he loveth whom he chasteneth. He's chastising you, but it's because he loves you.
Because he loves you.
Yeah.
That's why he wants to
A very
stab you in
hairy
the
trigger.
face. Yeah. But we will go for another 15 minutes,
Yeah, we'll
I
wrap
think.
go to 2 hours.
And then we'll wrap up. Now, I will say, we'll give any theist or anyone who disagrees with us 30 minutes or so. Like, we want to give you time, but if no one joins us, then we're just going to wrap up on religion and come back on more fun. That's right. Have enough. I am ready for... Look, any fake wars, I would say I am ready for. I'm completely at arms, at ease. Woo!
Then remember, what? Gizmo and Ryder fighting.
Aw.
Yeah. But, remember when Afghanistan was falling to the Taliban and you're like, nope, like send me in. I'll go defend it myself. Send in the training.
Well, I will say, I wish I could hold them off. It saddens me every day that the Taliban have control of
They won.
Afghanistan. That it kind of, yes, I don't. Once again, this is politics, and
It is
the
political.
asterisk is politics is just you're just making shit up. It's just your opinion. Doesn't have anything. I feel like we could have not given them stuff. I don't like our decision. But what you're going to do, I'm just going to have to keep pressing along with James and the skeptic and atheist community. We just have to do the groundwork on the bottom, on countries.
End religion worldwide.
The number one most downloaded book in Saudi Arabia was The God Delusion. And so there's hope for us, ladies and gentlemen. There is hope. We just got to keep on pressing for it.
Well, it is. I mean, like, what did they took flogging out of their penal code. Women can get driver's licenses now. So even a very totalitarian, repressive country like that is slowly but surely inching in the right direction. Hopefully they'll stop killing apostates and just say you can be free to believe what you want to believe. You want to be an atheist, you can be an atheist. You want to be Christian, be a Christian. It shouldn't have anything to do with the government or any type of criminal penalty for believing what you believe. You have the freedom to be wrong.
Exactly. You have the freedom to be religious or non-religious. That is the great thing.
Hey, Dale.
What is up, Dale? Sending so much love. We are in the final stretch. This is the end game. Feel free to join us if you would like. If you are in sweatpants and eating ice cream, just keep on listening. But we're actually looking for people who disagree with us. Theists, creationists, Come one, come all, just not on my sheets.
I mean, I get it. Richard Dawkins is not everybody's cup of tea, but I think he does pretty good atheist activism. I think some of it definitely. I think the God delusion that kind of took it atheism like mainstream. That was one of the first major digs, I think, because that book got a lot of attention. It really.
I haven't liked his recent foray into some of the subjective identity politics. But generally speaking, I do like Richard Dawkins. I do think he's more of an asset than against. I like
he's not everybody's cup of tea.
Point out,
I like the God delusion
in the chat today because someone brought up memes. He is the gentleman who coined the word meme as an analogous a meme. For those who don't know, I know many people think they know because Richard, he's quoted as being like, I don't know why everyone thinks that a meme has to deal with the internet. And that is because a meme is a single unit of culture. And what it's trying to do is be an analogous to a meme. And so we're used to online memes because our culture right now is an online culture. Internet memes. Sending so much love to the watcher for another $10. At the end of the day, I am going to say what the great Professor Dave, and we love Professor Dave here.
That was an amazing debate.
To Hoven, I do not care what your book says. I'm looking for mine. I do not care what your book says. It's a book. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is a book, and a book said a thing, which does mean that I have to.
What I used to do in the debates when they would be, when someone would be quoting the Bible, like the Bible says this, the Bible said that, I would just start quoting from Dr. Seuss, Green Eggs and Ham, or something like that, because they hold about the same level of authority in my mind. I could not with a fox. I would not in a box. Not here, not there, not anywhere.
But sending so much love to you.
Thanks, Watcher.
The Watcher. I couldn't agree more. And it really doesn't matter. A book said a thing. Yeah.
And that book, it makes a lot of untestable claims that they believe, but it makes a lot of testable claims. And wouldn't you know, when it does make testable claims, often enough, when we put those claims to the test, they don't hold up very well. Yeah, it does not have a great track record of standing up to scrutiny.
And speaking of which, a good transition. Ooh. You thought that you thought even it was actually. Yeah, thank you so very much, House of Comments, and much love, Ralph. But we are actually going to bring in Unlimited Christian, which means that's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Ultimated, yeah.
Ultimated. I'm great at pronunciation. We are going to add 30 minutes onto the clock. Because we have someone who may disagree with us. We are calling me skeptical. Let's have some fun. Woo-hoo! What is up, Ultimated Christian? We are having some fun. We are actually calling me skeptical. And we are talking religion. How are you? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for allowing me to join. I just have one question for either one of you.
Oh, this is biblically speaking. How are you doing? Good to see you again.
Yes, I've gone through some updates. We have spoken before. My question to either one of you is, what are your responses to our loving/Christian God being unlimited in size?
Sure. The Christian God doesn't exist, and thus he's not unlimited in size.
It's,
Our
that's what we like to call a baseless assertion.
Our Christian God does exist, and you have just presupposed our Christian God in order to be commenting about him. So your statement was a contradiction.
Well, no, it's just that things like ritual human sacrifice, like a god sacrificing a human, these things are nonsensical. So you would actually have to prove why Christianity would, be coherent or sane, rational.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
I haven't brought in the Bible directly, as the word Christian has multiple meanings. For example, the adjective Christian means to love. So that's why I stated earlier that what is your responses to our loving/Christian God being unlimited in size?
Well, I don't believe the Christian God. You could say is loving, but do you have a reason for believing the Christian God exists?
I know our Christian God exists because in order for us to identify ourselves to be limited in size, we have to have an ultimate standard. And that standard is God because he is unlimited in size, our Christian God.
What if I said it's really Rod Stewart because he is unlimited in size and he is the standard?
That's not God's name. So your response is fallacious.
What's God's name? Why can't Rod Stewart be God?
Wait, Regis brings up a good thing. I can't remember. Please just tell me this, because are you the one who got confirmation that you said you're in a sexual relationship with God?
Yes. Hence my username.
Come on, you're a pogue. Just at that point, you gotta give it to
I'm
us.
not.
We unwrapped it. We figured it out, ladies and gentlemen. Come on.
I vowed, I've got this on my YouTube channel, that I have vowed to our Heavenly Father to be an ultimated Christian.
What?
And in return, God has revealed to me that I am his ultimated Christian. So God touches my head, he touches my body, he's touching the side of my head now, he moves stars for me, and so forth. So you too
no wonder you think he's real. If God was doing that to me, I think we would be having a different conversation.
God is. So to summarize all of this, in order to be talking about God, we have to presuppose his existence.
Would you have to presuppose his existence to have sex with him?
Well, for the sake of this argument.
Of course.
You would have to presuppose it, right? Because you couldn't have sex with something that doesn't exist. I mean, maybe you could.
Again, when you say X doesn't exist, that's a contradiction in terms, because you have to presuppose X, as the word exist is a doing word. So for you to say that X doesn't exist,
sounds like
it doesn't mean anything.
The conversation we've been just talking about.
What about a 7-headed, 10-horned flying purple people eater? Do you think one of those exists? And I guess you do, because you'll have to presuppose that it does to answer the question, right?
One of those things could exist. However, you can't be neutral on God's existence because of his unlimited size.
What you're saying is God is really big.
Yes. And we have to presuppose his existence for us to understand that we are limited in size.
Then what's his realm? Where is he? Do you think he's omnipresent, or does he live in one particular place?
Yeah, he's omnipresent.
Just
he's
I have,
everywhere.
I have to interrupt everyone to send love to the Watcher, sending another $10 super
Thanks
chat
so much,
saying,
Watcher.
a sexual relationship with God? I've heard it all now.
So God, he's not on the
You're
phone
pushing
ordering
the
his
limits.
extends. He doesn't need it. He's already got it. He don't need any
I haven't
size enhancement.
experienced his full power. We just go through the motions of it.
Wait, can
So
I ask,
he's still testing me.
is God a male or a female?
Non-binary.
Non-binary. Do you consider yourself a heterosexual,
Irrelevant.
fill in the blank,
Irrelevant.
irrelevant?
What are
Well, I
what
just want to know
what
if
pronouns
there's.
does God use?
Well, it makes me want to know if we need to create, like, you may be God sexual. I'm trying to think.
What pronouns does God prefer? Does he take male pronouns or they, them?
It would just be God, and then his
Oh.
name. But that's the topic. That's the point I was trying to get
Rod
across.
Stewart.
So again, I'll make this as simple as I can. For us to be talking about God, we have to presuppose his existence. So you can't suppress.
I disagree with that.
So for us to be talking about Rod, we have to presuppose his existence.
You would have to presuppose the fundamental attributes of that person you said. So you have to presuppose their temporalities, their creatureliness. The same logic applies to God. You have to presuppose his eternalness, absoluteness, and so forth to understand that you are not eternal and absolute. So
I'm not. No, Rod is though.
Yeah, that's just a name to a limited in size particular. So the creator-creature distinction theology supports what I am saying, is that we are creaturely contingent on our creator, who is absolute, eternal, and immaterial. So we are to bow our knee to our Christian God.
Was
Is
there
he
a
contingent
time?
on anything?
Answer James' question.
Pre-denominational. So before there were any denominations.
Can I just... I will say, I swear, there was a little bit, maybe it was just my hope in the back of, like, my brain that could almost hear a giggle. But let's say you are completely serial and think that you have a more than just friendship relationship with God. When did that happen? When did that start?
And
I can't give you an exact date.
What's his username on Grindr?
No, it wasn't like that. It's a long story, but it's been years.
Well,
He's
you
been
have
interacting
at
with me
least
like
20
this.
minutes.
Well, just to give you the basic details, he has been interacting with me for the past few years. I can't give you an exact date on this. Yeah, so it was very emotional. It was very awesome that he has.
Like smoke a cigarette afterwards?
No, it's not. Wasn't
No,
like that.
not like that. Okay.
See, you say it wasn't like that, but when you kind of apply, you have a sexual relationship with God. It kind of is like that, isn't it?
Well, no, because I don't smoke or anything like that.
Oh my lordy! But get the analogy. Like, we're asking, is the sex great with God?
It's the fault that counts because we haven't gone through. I haven't experienced his full power, so we just go through the motions of it.
So you can
Well,
just imagine.
might need better batteries.
But I have experienced what heaven will be like just for a brief moment, like a second or two. And it's that feeling of almost climaxing when you're, I'm trying to keep this G rated.
Oh, please.
No,
So
we're a
Like that-
PG-13 to our podcast.
Like that time at the bathhouse, kind of like. Is that what you're harkening back to?
yeah, I'm not
But-
too sure what you mean by that, but yeah, it's just it's a very good feeling, like a sexual pleasure. So that's what's to be expected when it
Heaven?
comes to the new kingdom of God. Because God is love, so he will be expressing his love towards his followers.
Can I ask, have you ever found anyone else who has a sexual relationship with God?
There could be. I haven't spoken with anyone who has this sort of relationship that I do.
You're not exclusive.
I would be exclusive in terms of being his ultimated Christian. So there are perfect Christians, but I'm a level up from that. So I'm his ultimated Christian. And I'm
You're
not
like the
bragging.
Ultimated
It's,
Christian.
Oh, please do.
it actually states in the Bible that those who are in God are greater than those who are amongst this earth. So if you, and this comports with the greatest commandments in Matthew 22, verse 36. I'll just paraphrase it briefly. Is to love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. So I have chosen to love God with all that I have, and in return, I get special revelation on a daily basis, at any time, any moment. So that's a bit about me, but I do want to stay on topic, is that
Of course.
our Christian God. So even before reading the Bible, we know that our loving / Christian God exists because he has revealed himself to be ultimate perfection. What are your responses to that?
I mean, it sounds like you have a great relationship. I don't want to kink shame anybody. It's just, if God offered as much empirical evidence as, I think someone was talking about a reach around, we may have a different conversation. But I agree, Gizmo.
God is immaterial, so we do know that he exists. We don't have to see someone.
Charges are immaterial.
My charges are just very small. They're not purely immaterial. So in other words, God is absolute, invisible, not just very small.
No. I mean, it's cold out sometimes. And so, and like I think James was saying, you take the Gen X, you get that free roaming testosterone, and it grows.
So to add to what I've been saying, every knee will bow and confess that Jesus is Lord. So you may think it's all fun and games now, but once you're standing in front of God during Judgment Day, it's going to be a whole different story. And I know where you are going, Amy, because God has revealed to me.
Where am I going?
You're not going to God's new kingdom. God has revealed this information to me.
Okay, where am I going?
You know where you are going.
Bahamas. Ooh, I wanna. Oh!
The place contrary to God's new kingdom. So if you want to go down that route, we can, but I'm trying to keep this G-rated because the lake of fire is a place of torment.
Can I tell you something? If we are explaining your sexual relationship with God, the G-rated may become hard. I will say. Can I ask? Can you or God get pregnant? I mean, I guess you're a guy.
Is he a
can you
birthing
get
person?
pregnant? Yeah.
Can he have? So you're saying, can he have more children? yes, but he doesn't have to go through the stages of pregnancy.
Yeah, he could be a real diva. I would not want God to be pregnant, because let me tell you, he would just be like,
damn it,
a queen diva. Can you imagine that, Amy? He'd be wanting sacrifice after sacrifice, sweet savor,
yes,
mood swings, hot and cold flashes. He wants to go down. He's really cold. He wants to go down to hell for a few minutes.
Well, I mean, listen, you have been alive for eternity. You're lonely. You had some relationships 1,000 years ago, but you want someone. I get it.
Wrestled with Jacob.
I guess I just hope you're treating. It's not a he, right? I just hope you're treating your non-binary God well. I've had non-binary dating partners. I just hope you're treating them well. I hope you're finding their G-spot wherever it may be.
Well, you too. I know you won't do this, but if you were to repent, then you too can have a relationship with God, because that's what's going to be the most hurtful in those in the lake of fire, is the separation from God.
Yeah.
So on top of all the pain and the torments, it is the separation.
Now you're just becoming a classic Christian. We hear that all the time. Oh my. We have...
Talk about a classic Christian.
I know. We have Ralph backstage. I swear. Like, Ralph, we'll let you on, because we have up... this show allows up to 4 people, like in a
this
ship.
Might be good.
That is our maximum. We almost never see this, which is we're gonna bring in a Christian to talk with a Christian. But I do want to put this giant asterisk, and I'm gonna say it while he's here, because I don't know what else to do. But like, I'm like 50-50 whether he's a Poe. Like, I love. We've talked with. He's like, I'm totally not. We've talked with him for a while. We love the back and forth. We're anyone who's gonna tell us that they totally have anal with Jesus and they're not being metaphorical. Sure, we love to talk to. I'm just gonna put that out there. That yeah. And okay, we're going to bring Ralph in. We're going to go for like another 15,
we'll
20
see how
minutes.
It goes. No promises, though.
Yeah. But yes, we are. This is the end game still, ladies and gentlemen.
The end times are here.
See, yeah. This is the end of the world, and that's what they tell us. But Ralph, what is up? We're having fun. We're calling me skeptical on religion. And oh, boys and girls, can religious views be different?
Is this show not worth the price of admission, Ralph? Come on.
Well, good morning, and God bless you, James, Amy, and well done, Amy. I thought you were one of the better, if not one of the best panelists yesterday. You had me watching, so well done for that.
You.
And peace be with you, brother, in God's grace. Is it ultimate Christian? I can't believe what I just heard, so I just had to pop on. Did you make the claim? Did you make the claim that you have had physical relations with God? Is that true? Or?
Yeah, you can ask him yourself, and he will. Yeah, you could just ask him.
I'm sorry, maybe I cut out. I didn't quite hear what you said. So.
Yeah, if you don't believe me, then just ask God.
So you're claiming that you had sexual relations with the Creator?
Yeah, and if you ask him, he may reveal that information to you.
I prefer to ask you if that's all right. So when did this happen?
Well, it's been going on for years, this relationship I have.
When you say relationship, do you mean a physical relationship or a spiritual relationship?
This is a spiritual, so I haven't seen him yet.
Okay.
We just, he interacts with me through
in Canada.
I feel his hand touching my head, but it's an immaterial hand.
Whoa.
So I could.
Which head? Just can we be clear? Which head?
Both. So
Oh my god.
like the left
I
side of my
asked, I
head now.
received.
Holy shit.
So you're saying you do you wake up in the middle of the night and you feel some physical manifestations that you claim are from God?
Yeah, it could be in the middle of the night. He does it almost all day. Like even now, he's touching the left side of my head.
You are so Poe. There's no
I'm not.
way.
Okay,
not.
I mean,
No way.
This is
I'm
why I
sorry,
said-
chaps, but I have to go into full Christian Inquisition mode. Yeah, I'm afraid. I feel because I'm not sure if you're a troll, my friend. So
I'm not
going
a troll.
Okay, I'm going to give you.
I've got a YouTube
out.
channel. I talk about this a lot.
Okay,
My
is it
description
is
is
your
even
channel
based
called
on
It's
Ultimate?
on YouTube. It's gotta be
OnlyFans, my
legit.
friend.
Is your channel called Ultimated Christian? Is that the name of the channel
Yes.
as well? Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to look up. So you say you wake up. I'm deeply disturbed by what I hear here. So you say you wake up and you feel some sort of physical or sexual manifestation, and you are now claiming that that's related to your relationship with God. Is that? Because you realize you
I
could
have
just be
emotions.
having a physiological response, right? You know, there are people who have, for example, sexual physiological
wet dream?
response to sleeping. Right, exactly. So you could be having one of those things, but to attribute it to God is you understand that's both blasphemous and heresy, right?
No, I haven't woken up to that. What I was saying is that I have woken up and he has been touching my head. And I stated, if you don't believe
Oh
me,
my.
then just ask God.
No, I prefer to take people at face value. I prefer to trust people that they tell me the truth. So I will rather trust you first, right? So, I mean, you're saying you wake up and you feel, or during the day, you feel a physical manifestation on your head and you're attributing that to God physiologically entering his creation to touch you. Do you understand that cannot be a Christian position, right?
I said here's an immaterial presence. But
Okay.
So it's immaterial at the same time tangible. So I could pass my hand through his hand and it would go through, but I could still feel his hand on my head. So that's
Okay, but you understand to feel
awesome.
something, right? But to see something physiologically is very, very different from feeling something that you imagine, right? So you could imagine, for example, the Lord walking with you, and that's perfectly metaphorically legitimate. But to then actually make the claim that God is physically walking with you would be absolute heresy to Christians, right?
It's not, because you're underestimating my love towards God.
No, I
So
don't. I take the. No,
You
it
possibly
pleases me
are.
greatly that you love the Lord. I'm happy. I'm your brother in Christ. So, but the bit about the physiological and sexual bit is deeply disturbing. You appreciate that, right? Right. I mean, even not the
It
sexual bit,
shouldn't
just the
be.
physical bit, right? That's.
So
Look, you two can
I
have this
do-
relate.
no, we'll finish it. You finish your last sentence. I guess you two can now have a sexual relationship with God. Call
Oh,
in.
stop it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, I know. Hey, I'm just helping marketing. But we got two fantastic super chats. We're sending love. Sinister Porpoise says, "You see, did God give you a safe word?"
I mean, you appreciate you're giving all the atheists, like, this is probably one of their best. They're probably going to clip this forever, right? So, okay, I'm trying to be serious about this. But see, I appreciate this ultimatum. I appreciate your love for the Lord, and for that,
Absolutely, Ralph. You
look
call
at Amy's grin. She's just grinning like one of the Cheshire
Like
cat.
I see, and I'm sending love. So friendly Muslim, if you want, you can come back on, because friendly Muslim's trying to come on to Vouch. That's like, oh no, this
Assalamu
dude
alaikum, and it
is
was-
totally like 110%
Eid Mubarak,
serious.
my friend. But I'm at a loss for words, which is not that often in my life. I mean, so I'm
That's
going to
true.
try to desexualize it first. So do you actually ultimately, do you feel when, I appreciate the depth and strength of your love for the Lord, and that is a beautiful thing. But when you
Feels
say
the
your
depth
hand
and strength in
touches
him
you,
as well.
when his hand touches you, do you actually mean you feel a physiological sensation, or is this something that is just purely spiritual? Because you realize it couldn't be physical, right? That would be a miracle, for example, right? At least, right? So you'd be making very, very strong claims for the Christian faith, right? Like anyone who claims there's a miracle has the attention of all the other Christians in the world, right? So you actually, when you say, if you say, oh, I just feel the Lord walks with me, or I can feel the presence of the Lord with me, or I can feel his hand on my hand, that's metaphor, that's fine. But as soon as you say you actually felt it on your flesh, that would have to either be a miracle or heresy, right? You understand that, don't you, my friend?
It's not heresy.
Okay.
It's a miracle.
Okay, that's different. So you're claiming you're having a miraculous physical relationship with God. Okay.
Yeah, but it's beyond the miracle, but it's because it happens all the time. So he's showing to me how much he loves me, and vice
He
versa.
does love you.
But
He
it
does love you.
happens so much. You said it happens right now. So I mean, in some way, right now,
I'm just laughing at Amy's grin. I've never seen Amy grin so much.
Because I mean, you have to separate your attention because right now you're trying to have a philosophical conversation while God's going to town on you. I know. I have practice with Gavin, but Gavin's a physical entity as far as we know. But $10 super chat says
his pants are not a physical entity.
Oh, that's right. They seem to be metaphysical because they don't exist. The Watcher, a $10 super chat.
Oh, thank you so much, The Watcher. You're our hero.
Says somebody, and I'm gonna add, please, hack this stream and end it. I cannot believe the crap I am hearing.
So, Ultimated, have you been, can I ask you a few questions, Ultimated? I'm very, 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 very curious, because I'm very curious if anything like that is a potential miracle arrives on the planet. Have you felt this all your life? Has this been something recent? Have you been a Christian all your life, my friend? Or
there's only two positions. You're either Christian or you're not. But what I mean by that is that you're either loving or you are not. So I'm applying the adjective Christian. But no, this hasn't been happening all my life because I've had to choose to be perfect, and then through that, God has revealed to me slowly over my life.
Can I just put a pin? Because I know everyone's mother should feel this way about you, but I just want to reiterate: you are perfect.
I'm perfected. So
can I ask? I know God would rate you 5 stars in this, but are you heterosexual, homosexual? Would they rate you? You know what? I contract my statement, ladies and gentlemen. I contract all statements. We're gonna go for like 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. Straight?
I would put him in that category.
Super straight. Well, he can't be super straight because God is genderless. In fact, in some ways, he has to be a little pansexual.
I'm not sure about that, but I'm so ultimately Christian. Are you aware of the idea of religious ecstasy? Do you know that people can, especially if they're very devoted, can actually have ecstatic moments in faith where they feel a lot of physiological responses, and then they could attribute that to the metaphysical, which isn't true. Are you aware of religious ecstasy? Do you think you might be having?
I understand what you mean, but no, that doesn't apply to me because you have to understand how much I love God. If only you knew that, then you wouldn't be questioning me.
Oh, I do. I take your word value. I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. I love the Lord, and I know the Lord loves me. You don't need to tell me that.
And I would say Ralph is horrified that you may be telling the truth, and we're just, well, I think you can see it on our
I must confess, this is one of the hardest streams I've had to jump on in a long time, and I've been on some brutal streams in my.
Trust us. Ralph loves the Lord. Ralph loves God. He really loves God.
I'm trying not to. I'm not sure if I should laugh or cry here.
They haven't 69 yet.
So if you're conscious of religious ecstasy, my friend, are you sure you're not attributing your love for the Lord and your devotion to the Lord for a ecstatic moment that is not the same as a miracle? Because this is very common too, right? You see this a lot in religious ecstasy. you would see people who love the Lord so much, like we both do, that you would actually feel that ecstasy has gone a little further. Now you're falsely attributing it to a physical relationship with the Creator, right? You appreciate that when you cross the line that it being physical, it either has to be a miracle or it is straight out heresy, right? Because you understand that, don't you? Ultimated that you know the Lord will not have a physical relationship with you unless it is a miracle, right? And if it is a miracle, then the church, by which I mean the Corpus Christi, that means all your brothers and sisters in Christ will be incredibly interested.
Can I just eliminate one variable?
Amy, can't help Amy. Amy's having the best scream. You're making me laugh, Amy. Stop it. Stop it.
Can we just eliminate
Hey,
that
Mark,
it's not you sitting on your hand? It's definitely not you sitting on your hand, right? No. Okay, you go.
I'm sincerely interested.
Well,
Because I'm interested in miracles, my friend. And, and if there are miracles, then I think myself and a lot of Christians would be very, very curious to validate the miracle, right? You appreciate that, right? Right?
I understand what you're saying. So this will hopefully clarify things. So firstly, do you take the position that Jesus is God?
Amen. Yes, of course.
Yes. So
precious Lord.
Yes. So because Jesus is God, and it states in the Bible in John 15:13 that there is no greater love has no man than a man lay down his life for his friends. So to summarize that, Jesus is God, and there is no greater love to die for your friends. Therefore, God's favorite would be a human because he died for humans. He didn't die for angels. So
if this was a plane, he'd be coming back to mainstream. It's like he's coming down from the platform, even though it sounds cuckoo to us. But it's Christian.
My cry, when angels deserve to die.
Exactly.
Well,
I think there was a System of a Down reference just slipped in there by James because it's a musical reference, right? The toxicity of the city, James. But I'm still so.
In the end, it doesn't really matter.
But ultimately, are you really making it so that you appreciate other Christians and most religious people will be either aghast at what you said or they'd be incredibly curious if you're telling the truth, right? I mean, when you say it's a physical relationship, to feel the Lord touch you in your flesh would be a miracle. Right?
It's a tangible.
Pick up a website.
So something can be immaterial
tangible.
and tangible.
It's tangible. So it's tangible, mean it's material, right? So if I were to...
No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be material. God is immaterial and tangible. So this is purely supernatural. So he could touch me with an immaterial palm at the same time. That palm can have...
Okay, so that's a very different claim. So you're touched by the presence of God and you feel that presence in your spirit. I'll mention that. Right? But that's
I feel it outside of me. It's not just a part of me. It's outside of me. So he's literally in my room touching me.
I think it's the language that I am wrestling with. I can tell by Amy's grin that the language is something she is not wrestling with, right?
They're sitting there in his bedroom touching him. What is not hard to understand?
It's the language that is very difficult. So
now Ralph has to be thinking, what am I doing wrong? God has touched me.
I sit all day, James.
Would you vow? I'll ask him a question. Would you vow to God to be an ultimated Christian? That's all it takes.
You have to be on your knees.
Absolutely. Psalm 44:8. In God we make our boast and we praise his name forever. Absolutely. I yield completely to the authority and the love of God. I don't hesitate. I'm much more alarmed that if a Christian wanders around the internet saying that they were in quotes touched by God, and they don't mean it metaphysically. Can you appreciate why a lot of Christians would find that what's the word you progressive to you? What we find it problematic. You can see why we would call that problematic. You understand that?
Forget touched by an angel, touched by God.
Oh my!
Touched by a deity.
But it's not just
And,
being touched. Yeah, it's the physicality that constitutes it being a miracle, right? That's
going to interrupt you guys again, and then eventually we got like 5 more minutes, ladies and gents. The Watcher, another $10 super chat, sending so much love. Ultimated Christian probably has a dating account that says "Horny for God."
so. I'll be back in
Look.
30 seconds. I just need to do a message. I'm sorry about that. 30 seconds.
No,
friends.
you're good. I just want to say, to piggyback on what the Watcher has said, I feel like you need to open up a dating website. I feel like
For
you
deities.
need to open up Touch by God. Exactly. Yahweh and you coming around to people's houses and touching them personally.
That'd be better than what the Mormons are doing, or Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, that's more of a work-based relationship.
Jehovah's
my
Witnesses. Yeah.
But sending you so much love, the Watcher. Thank you so very much
Thanks,
for the
Watcher.
support. But yeah, we'll go for like a few more minutes.
We'll wait
Because I'm sure Ralph wants to finish up.
think,
you know, and I would understand. Look, after you finish someone off, I feel like it's nice enough that we wait and then finish him off. You know what I mean?
Basic courtesy.
That's a Ralph.
It's basic courtesy, especially. And just like we were talking about, we've been taking a lot of different positions. We have to move through these, and you have
Plow
to
through it, push through
Yeah,
it.
you have to plow through it so that you can finally get a syllogism. And so I have really liked what we have talked about today. It has been titillating.
I could present you a syllogism supporting
Oh,
who I am. I
all
actually
right,
got this on
all
my
right,
YouTube
I'm ready.
channel. I'll just get it up.
Give it
So I'll
to
actually
me.
quote this
Quote
word
it.
for word. Just a moment, as this is very important because I am working to perfect this. So premise 1, our loving/Christian God is the greatest being conceivable. Premise 2, I vow to be an ultimated Christian. Conclusion, therefore.
Is that how you? That's how you become an ultimated Christian.
No,
Can
yeah,
you-
I've
I'm
You
sorry.
told Ralph he could
Can
become
you read
one, but
that? I hate to
No, I
say
said
that
it-
was premature for me. So could you maybe just
finish. Yeah.
Yeah, just go. Which it happens, and that's why you take pills. But one more time.
well, firstly, no, Ralph can't be an ultimated Christian. That was just I was just throwing that out there because I
Okay.
thought he would say no, but he said he would agree to it, so he's possibly lying on that. So I'll just repeat the syllogism. So proof
And
being
let's start with one because I want to go. Yeah. Okay.
proof being ultimated Christian. Premise 1, our loving/Christian God is the greatest being conceivable. So do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to present premise 2?
So it's our loving God is the greatest being conceivable.
Yes.
All right. We could argue about that, but move forward. We'll go.
Premise 2, I vowed to be an ultimated Christian.
I vow to be an ultimated Christian. I am not sure how that these two are attached, but I'm sure it'll all come together in the conclusion. I vow to be an ultimated Christian. All right. Spray it all
Sorry,
over
Amy.
me.
I just got back and I missed premise 1. What was premise 1?
One is our loving greatest God is the greatest conceivable being imaginable.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just repeat it from the start. So premise
Thank you.
1, our loving/Christian God is the greatest being conceivable. Premise 2, I vow to be an ultimated Christian. Conclusion, Therefore, God revealed to me I'm his
Wait,
ultimate Christian.
Wait. Therefore, God.
I've just put it in the private chat.
And none, I hate to, but your one doesn't even come into play.
You cannot. There's no argument against premise one. God is the greatest being conceivable.
Oh, so you just have to. I love. So he revealed himself to you. Well, I mean, if God was giving me handies, I would believe in him too.
But I did add in the conclusion to ask him. So God revealed to me I'm his ultimate Christian, and in brackets, ask him. So I'm giving you incentive to pray/talk to God.
I believe that praying is talking to yourself. I used to pray when I was a theist, but I no longer do.
Well, there's no such thing as an atheist because you have to presuppose God to be commenting about him.
That's not true because I don't believe that a God exists.
You still have
And
to
yet I'm
presuppose
commenting
him.
on it.
Yeah, but exist is a doing word. So you're just saying
Can
that
I
X
ask,
doesn't do this.
do you have to believe in Thor to say that it doesn't exist, that he doesn't exist?
Yeah, he's
Like
in a
purple
different
people eater?
category
Why is that a different category?
because he is not absolute. He's not omnipresent. He is subjected to God's absoluteness. So he's
Well,
just
only
he's just
because
another
you
creature.
are asserting that. All right, Nessie, now we're going into the omnipresence. We're going back to classic. Doesn't it feel good every once in a while to go into classic Coca-Cola? Ralph, do you have anything that you would like to say before we start to wrap up?
Well, I'll park. I do what I will do is I'll leave a comment on Ultimate Christian channel, and I offer you to join one of our very many large Christian servers that are exclusive to Christians only, because I would love to explore with your Christian brothers and sisters this topic in the presence of Christians only. So I'll park that over there. But yeah, I think he's restating. I believe.
That's right,
correct me if I'm wrong. You're restating Ansem.
Jen sussed him out. Jen
Yeah,
smelled that bullshit. She sniffed it
Yeah,
out.
we'll take that up in a Christian server, but I think you're reflecting a variation of Lord Ansem.
Why not on our server, Ralph? Come on. Why not here?
Well, you're going to wrap up. This is going to be. I thought you said you were going to wrap up, but I think the ontological argument. I believe, if I'm not correct, correct me if I'm wrong, ultimately, you're trying to present Lord Ansem's ontological argument for the existence of God, right? Is that so? That's a fairly well path.
No, my syllogism wasn't proving. That's a different argument, but I can argue premise one. I can argue for the existence of God because God is ultimate perfection. So you have to presuppose him in order to understand what the word God means and to understand that you are a limited in size being. So when you look up,
that's the kind of that's the presuppositional stance of Ansem's argument. But you appreciate the ontological argument has moved forward since Ansem's formation. There are more structured versions of that argument. You won't find me arguing against the ontological argument.
It is valid in that you have two premises and a conclusion. It is not sound, as in it doesn't flow. If I don't accept the premises, well, one of the premises is just there. The first one's just there, like just because you could just have your premise too, and then your conclusion. But I don't agree with your premise.
No, but I have
that's not strictly true.
I have to have premise one because I'm vowed to be an ultimate Christian. God has to be the ultimate being for me to be an ultimate Christian. So premise one is there for a reason.
It is actually, and Amy, that's not true strictly speaking, because it doesn't presuppose the existence of God in so much that it defines God as something that is the superset of all that could be conceived in the greater than relationship, right?
In
So
ultimate Christian is in God is ultimate.
Ultimate in the sense that it defines the thing that is greater than anything else that can be, right? That was Lord Ansem.
I don't agree that God is the greatest conceivable thing, and I also don't agree that the greatest conceivable thing exists. You would have to show evidence for that.
Right, but the premise is not saying that. The premise is defining God as being the greatest conceivable thing. So you'd have to refute it by defining something that was greater than it, and that would immediately go back to premise one, saying that thing you defined that was greater than is equal to premise one. Right?
Okay. Well,
So
it says right here, brute fact, which I do not agree with.
yeah, it's a brute fact. So it's an axiomatic claim.
Take that to Eddie.
You can reject the premise, absolutely, but it wouldn't change anything for the argument's validity or soundness, right? But I mean, anyway, I'm not. I mean, we can do the ontological argument if you want. I'm much more deeply disturbed, shall we say, by the earlier part of the show than I am with the variations of the ontological argument. I've got to find your channel as we speak, Ultimate Christian. In case you
Yeah, it's the same as my avatar here.
Ralph was just like, "Oh, Amy's loving this content."
Well,
this is unusual.
I
Yeah, James.
do have to say, if God is going to start, peeking you towards a climax, it does kind of catch people's attention.
Is there any chance you put a link to your channel, my friend? Because I'm trying to search for it in YouTube and I can't find it.
Yeah, hang on, I'll do that now.
YouTube.com/sexwithgod.
Yeah, as you can appreciate, this is just terribly disturbing. This is the thing. No, but it may be a miracle. In which case, my wife has very deep and old familial connections to the Vatican. I'm sure there's some Vatican priests who would love to have a chat. Because there's an entire department for miracles. So,
Call the Pope.
And what we're going to do, I'm going to give you, Ralph, a chance to say a closer. I'm going to give you a chance to say a closer, Christian, and then we're going to give Nick an intro, outro, and then we're going to head out.
Thanks ever so much for having me on, James, Amy. I thought
Thanks,
you did
Ralph.
very, 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 very well. You were great in Mr. Richardson's show. I thought you were quite good with your questions, so well done.
Thank you.
And more debates will probably be good for your channel. And Ultimate Christian, I mean, if you have put a link, thank you ever so much. I think I might reach out to you because I'm very intrigued by your claims. And I hope you chaps have a wonderful day. And God bless you all. Peace out.
Have a good night, Ralph.
God
Yeah, you too.
bless.
Bye, guys.
Woo-hoo.
Do you think Nick does Nick want to come in and talk to Ultimated, or what does Nick want to do?
Well, I will give you, Nick, if you want. Do you want to say something about the topic? Are you looking to talk with our theist friend here? Are you looking? He's like,
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, well, it's hard to say. I could go either direction because I can't think that this is. It's a rare opportunity to talk with someone who thinks they have a sexual relationship with God, but at the same time, I will say you don't always want to talk with the person at the. I love you. I was about to make the joke. It's the end of the bar. I'll put it that way. The end of the bar. Unlimited Christian. I want to say one last thing about that, because just going back to the premise, because I'm gonna post it, and then we're gonna maybe let Nick in here.
Yeah, I do have a link to my YouTube description page. This argument / syllogism.
And that is the only thing that I would say that is close to your mainstream Christian. I love it. God is the greatest being, conceivable fact, brute fact. I don't agree with premise one. I do not think that it is a sound premise, even though I know Ralph says that it is, but it isn't. I vowed to be a ultimated Christian. You are quoting Matthew. In conclusion, therefore, God revealed to me that I am his ultimated Christian. No talk about reach arounds, however. Just if you would like to maybe talk one last thing about that, we have also been calling me skeptical about religion, and it has been also great to meet your partner, even though she doesn't, they never show up. But we've been asking for god or goddesses. That's what I asked on Randolph's stream tonight. But yeah, it's been fun. Unlimited Christian, what do you have any final words?
Yeah, I'll just add to premise one is that it comports with perfect being theology. So there are articles on that. If you Google it, there's many books on it. So that, just to restate, premise one comports with perfect being theology. So I'll finish with that.
Woo-hoo. Well, thank you so very much, Unlimited Christian. It has been lovely having you on. It's been interesting, to say the least. I want to know if you will be opening another Pornhub category, because I think that is sorely lacking. Oh, I can't help it. That's I can't because, ladies and gentlemen, we love everybody. Double entendres. I can't help it. My brain is going back and forth whether I should keep you in here or not, whether I should submit you. Why don't we just
Let's just
keep
do.
you, let's keep you in the corner. Just stay tucked. You just why don't we say this? Try to keep your clothes on, but if you don't, try to use a curtain. That's right. Sending love to Nick has joined the most intellectual stream we've had this year. Fantastic.
Leave it to you to find the Christian that's having sexual relations with God.
We did it, Nick.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to say premise one is problematic on that one, and it's problematic because it's begging the question, since at least part of what has to be at issue here is whether or not God exists. As soon as you say God is you have assumed that he exists. So, in order for anyone to pass premise one, you would have to demonstrate that God exists. Now, if the argument doesn't have the conclusion that God exists, it would still necessarily assume God exists in order to be a sound argument. But I think it's also invalid because it's begging question. It's question begging. Wow. I'm a little tongue-tied.
Am I allowed to respond? Yeah. Is this I'm assuming Amy wanted to end this, so if I could respond to that quickly.
So it is up to Nick if he's good with it, but I will say we're gonna go for about 15 more minutes.
I don't have much more than 15 minutes, so that works for me.
And I will say it's gonna be a quickie.
All right.
Okay, so I'll respond to that. What Nick has said is, well, you have to presuppose God in order to talk about him. So premise one proves the existence of God, and
you have to presuppose that there is a concept of God. You don't have to presuppose the existence of God. You only have to presuppose that there is such a thing as that concept.
No, God doesn't start in our minds. He is all of actuality. So because you would have to
demonstrate that. You would have to demonstrate that.
Yeah.
You
Because
believe
you
in God.
are a
I don't. So how are you going to demonstrate that God exists such that you can make the claim in order to make the argument?
well,
What
then
you're
you're
saying is, well, I'm
lying.
just presupposing it, but okay, now that's circular.
It doesn't matter that it's circular because God comports with the law of identity that A equals A. So God is God. So for you to understand that you are a limited in size being, you have to presuppose an unlimited in size God as a standard.
Well, you're choosing to, but you haven't justified making that presupposition. You haven't justified it, other than trying to define it into existence, which really is the ontological argument.
You have to presuppose that you are a limited in size being. At the same time, you are presupposing God as an unlimited in size being.
Well, you are. I mean, you are, but you haven't justified why I need to. You haven't justified that.
Because you are not God, you are a limited in size being, contingent on God, as he is an unlimited in size.
You haven't demonstrated that contingency. You've skipped a whole bunch of steps.
It's a true
I agree,
dichotomy.
unlimited.
It's the only option.
No, why is it the only option?
That's just who God is.
Well, that's
God,
who you say
by-
God is. You haven't isn't the whole point to demonstrate that?
Yeah, because I'll make this as simple as I can. For you to understand that you are a limited in size being, you have to have a standard, that being God, as he is
Well,
an
why do you have
unlimited.
to have a standard? Why do you have to have a standard? Or why? Let me rephrase that. Why couldn't the standard? Oh, well, all right. That standard could easily be a hypothetical one. Why does there necessarily have to be any? My understanding of being limited is not predicated on the fact that there must exist something that is not limited. I can conceive of what that might. I can't even conceive of what that could look like. I could actually talk about it hypothetically, but I can't even conceive of this other standard. So why must this other standard exist? You're defining it into existence. You haven't demonstrated it does.
I'm not.
You seem to be arguing that just because limited things exist, something unlimited must exist. But there's no logical way to jump from, the fact that limited things exist to there must be an unlimited one.
It does
in the
follow.
same way, when I see puzzle pieces, each piece in and of itself, I can imagine what a completed puzzle might look like. But you could also just cut out a whole bunch of pieces and not have a whole puzzle. You don't know what's there. It doesn't necessarily imply the whole larger thing. That's actually still not a very good example. I could probably come up with a better one. But nonetheless, just because I'm limited does not entail that there is something that is not limited. Doesn't it? How could that possibly entail that necessarily?
It does. Because you are limited, you are not eternal. So it takes someone, God, who is eternal, to be the cause for your being.
Oh, okay, now you added a step. So this is what I'm saying. You skipped a whole bunch of steps. So now what you're saying is I must have been caused. So you're not arguing it's entailed. Those are two different arguments. Saying it's entailed suggests that you cannot have limited without unlimited. You're now saying you cannot have limited without having a cause, and that cause must have been. But you're now good. You're adding steps. That's at least getting to an argument. But a limited thing does not entail unlimited. Now, if you'd like to argue prime mover or any of the Quince Vites, Thomas Aquinas, I would love to do that. I'm a big fan of those discussions. But you're now at least going through the steps. One does not necessarily entail the other.
When I say that God is unlimited in size, that also implies that he is eternal. So for God to be eternal, he has to be all-powerful, to be the sustainer of himself. And for God to be all-powerful, he has to be unlimited in size.
If he exists. Yes,
he
if
does
he existed,
exist.
I would. But you haven't demonstrated that other than to say, because I'm limited, he must exist.
Yeah, you are limited. So you are not at all places at the same time. You are not all powerful.
Why must there be
to
something
be
that
eternal.
is? Why must there be something that is?
That's just who God is. For God to be eternal.
Okay, now you're circular again, and you said earlier that
it doesn't
you don't care that
matter.
it's circular, and that's
it
fine.
Doesn't matter.
If you okay, but then you're not making an argument. You don't care.
That's
if you
why.
don't care about
I
the rules of
understand.
logic,
That's why
then
I'm
let's
evangelizing.
Okay, so then why have premises? You don't care about the logical structure.
That was to support my YouTube channel, my identity as being the ultimated Christian.
But what I'm saying is, if you're going to have premises, you seem to have said, I would like to have premises and make an argument, except I'm not going to make an argument, and it doesn't matter if the argument is faulty. You can't really do both, it seems to me.
No, the argument in the private chats is in regards to me being an ultimated Christian, but you objected to premise 1.
Yeah.
So that's what we are talking about now. So to summarize all of this, in order to talk about God, you have to presuppose his existence.
No. Well, okay. So here's an interesting thing. In order to talk about the concept of God, you wouldn't have to. Now, the question then is God more than a concept? Does God actually exist? Well, I don't see why talking about the concept would instantiate the existence of the reality, nor do I see why being able to conceive of the concept sort of loosely, because it's actually just a hypothetical. We can't actually conceive of it, but we can sort of suggest it as something opposed to us, but I don't understand why our existence would necessarily entail that.
Well, firstly, concepts don't just pop into existence out of nothing. You have to appeal to the attributes of God. So that's why I stated earlier that God doesn't start in our minds. We have to appeal to his revelation, his attributes, in order to talk about him. So we presuppose God.
Plenty of people have talked about gods and even eternal gods long before the God of Abraham.
There can only be one God by definition, because he is
like
absolute.
Highlander.
Well, by your definition, I agree, but again, you fail to instantiate that definition. That's your definition. That's fine. What I have an issue with is I don't understand how, or you seem to think that it's necessarily implied by the fact that I exist and I am limited, and I don't see how either of those necessitate the instantiation of this concept. I agree the concept exists, but lots of concepts exist that are theoretical. That's not unusual. It's not unusual for us to say, well, if I'm going to answer what causes the light to do this, I could say it's aliens, or I could say it's wormholes, or I could say this and that. We create a lot of
horned
hypothetical
people eater
constructs. Yeah, we make constructs all the time, and that this construct is an unlimited construct. Hey, great. But people have thought of things like that in the past. I don't understand how just thinking about this as a construct means it must necessarily be real. We have imaginations. That's why we're able to explore the universe, and we invent thousands of theories, and then usually one ends up being close to correct, and we home in on it. But it's that level of creativity to invent things that aren't real, which we do all the time.
I'll make this as simple as I can.
All right.
God, as a starting point, is everywhere. So in other words, he is unlimited in size.
You claim.
You are not everywhere, so you are limited.
That's a claim, though. That's a claim. So what I'd like you to do, you just made a claim, and what I'm asking for is, how do you know that?
What was the claim? What? Okay, so
that God is
do you want me to claim?
God is everywhere.
Yeah, that's as a starting point.
That's a claim. That's not because you just made a claim, and what I'm saying is, I haven't seen you support that claim.
Well, I can support it with the impossibility of the contrary, or that it's just a brute fact that God is absolute.
But so I don't accept that fact. I don't.
So guys,
fact would be necessary. Yes.
I'm going to interrupt just to do a super chat, and then we're going to do 5 more minutes to just have back and forth.
Well, you
but
got Pat out
just
there. Hey,
sending
Pat.
love. And oh, what is up, Pat? And sending love again, the Watcher with another $10 super chat. Woohoo!
Woohoo.
Thank you so very much. Watcher says it's gonna be a QE. Okay, just GTFO, Lamo. Woohoo! Thank you so
Thanks,
very much,
Watcher.
Watcher. It has definitely been a fascinating stream, to say the least. I am so glad someone said it in chat early on, and I also saw Ultimated Christian make that claim on the Atheist Experience, and I was like, "Excuse me, what? I'm sorry, what?" Because anyone who claims to have a sexual relationship with God is going to have a fascinating conversation, I guess. It's an interesting way to get a conversation.
It's an attention grabber,
drinks.
which
Exactly.
is
John Vance, I see you behind stage. We're only going to be going for a little bit longer. I feel bad because I know that you are a viewpoint that disagrees with our own. But I want to let Nick and Ultimated finish up their conversation. And we'll figure out something. It may be to be continued. But in the meantime, I am going to hand it back over to one of you who had the ball. But guys, we are wrapping up.
I think Nick had the balls.
Any time you start as a starting point any element of Agrippa's trilemma, so this would be either infinite regress, brute fact, or circular reasoning, you do not have a valid argument after that. Now, if you're not trying to make a valid argument, that's fine, but I'm not going to be swayed by a valid argument. Now, if you're stating that you are correct by brute fact, first of all, you're using a brute fact and you're using circular reasoning. Is it? Yes, circular reasoning. And that's fine, but that means you don't have an argument. You don't have a valid argument. So, and we can make arguments. I mean, I can, and in fact have made that exact kind of argument for why I'm God, and it's not that hard to do. I think you would disagree if I made that argument, but you actually, if I started with a brute fact, you would be at a complete. If you accepted the brute fact, you'd end up saying, well, I don't accept the brute fact, which it's entirely in your right to do, because that's actually the brute. You can't make as a premise a brute fact in that sense. So again, you're simply declaring. So you have a statement of God is these things, but he is that because I am declaring that by brute facts. Okay, but you don't get to declare brute fact for other people's knowledge or beliefs. So the question is either these are just your beliefs and you don't care what other people think, or you are trying to educate people as to how and why of God, in which case you need to make an argument that isn't, well, this is my fact and that's how I'm going forward.
That's just the nature of God. We all start with a brute fact, and that brute fact is God, because he is absolute, eternal, and the creator of contingencies.
So but again, you've declared that, but you haven't demonstrated it. And so let me ask you.
You are a limited being.
Yes, that does not necessarily entail that there is an unlimited being. The world might be just made up of an infinite or pretty close to infinite number of finite beings. Why must there necessarily be?
Because to be eternal, God has to have
unlimited
power.
Well, hold. Did you see the jump you just made? So I said, why, if there's a whole bunch of finite beings, must there be an infinite one? And then you said, well, to be eternal. So you started with the premise that you're trying to demonstrate again. The question I asked was, why can't it just be a whole bunch of finite beings? Why can't it just be that? Why must there be an eternal one? Then you said, well, because God is eternal. Why must there be an eternal one? Why can't it just be a whole bunch of finite ones?
Because there would be gaps in between those said finite things.
What do you mean? What do you mean by gaps?
That's there has to be an infinite in size God securing all of reality
No, what? No,
for you to
what?
identify.
You just said there had to be, and what I'm asking you is why? Why can't it just be a huge number of finite things?
It's impossible as a starting
On
point
what
because
grounds?
there would be gaps. There has to be an infinite in size God securing all of reality.
No.
I would agree that the universe had some kind of initial
Eye
spark,
gaps.
but you don't know that, for example, that isn't in a set of cosmos that has other laws of physics. We also know the laws of physics and even the laws of causality break down as you get closer to Planck time or whatever. So you're assuming that causality would continue to function outside of this universe. There's probably things outside of this universe, and we don't know even that the laws of logic would hold. So what you're making a whole bunch of assumptions, which make it easier to understand these things. Absolutely. There are things we can't understand, like infinite, we can't understand. And so instead of saying, okay, let's work with what we understand, it sounds like what you're doing is saying, let me put a label on it and then give it all of these attributes, which you can't substantiate. It just makes it more comfortable for you than saying, I don't know, which is that's human history going back 100,000 years. I don't know is something we're not very comfortable with.
Well, to further support that God is a brute fact, I can argue from the
You can't support a brute
impossibility.
fact. You if it's a brute fact, there is no supporting it. That's why it would be a brute fact.
And in a second, we are going to bring on, it sounds like John Vance wants to ask you a question about that being a brute fact.
It's up to Christian. You can bring him on now, or if Christian, I don't want to.
It's
I
up
haven't
to
given
Amy.
a chance to. I haven't given Unlimited Christian a chance to respond, so I feel.
Yes, well, we're going to go for about 5 more minutes. And so I do want to just put really a big emphasis on sending love to Pat. Oh, you're getting a lot of tough love from Pat here, saying there is God because it said there's God. My proof, my statement and blind assertion that there's God. Why not a non-eternal God? Are there gods dead? The only gap is this guy's. Oh, he's coming for you, ultimated. And we, not only that, but Pat, I really do need to put emphasis that this gentleman, and like I said, I'm just selling it for you. When you have a product,
She's
that
just the
works,
messenger.
just the messenger. This gentleman, right below me, has not just a personal relationship with God, because every husband and wife has a personal relationship, but we are talking about a sexual relationship, and thus this takes, I feel like we were talking about religion, but I mean, who can't help but talk about religion and sex?
Oh, you're gonna that's all you're gonna think about. I've been on this stream enough times to realize as soon as the topic of sex came up, we weren't gonna be talking about anything else.
Listen, we were talking about theology.
That's
right
okay, fair,
between
true.
his thighs. What? What? But woo! Sending so much love to Brian Stevens. Woo! Thank you so very much, Brian. It's lovely to have you on board. The Skeptic and Ranting community. Woohoo! And we're starting to see, it's exciting, the badges that are actually evolving.
We don't need no stinking. Yeah, you do. You want the badges.
But yes, before we bring John in, Nick, is there anything else you want to say? Get all. I feel like if you are going to ask a question before you clear your browser history, I feel like now's the chance.
I think I know what Unlimited Christian is going to say, but I do think I've said what I'm going to say, so I did want to make sure Unlimited Christian had a chance to respond. I have an idea where it's going to land, but nonetheless, I think it's Unlimited Christian's turn.
and you gotta
so
use it and aim. That's part of the problem. Yes, all yours on Ultimatum.
Well, to summarize all of this, is that God is a brute fact. So he is who he is. So it may be circular, but it's not fallacious because he comports with the law of identity that A is A. So for me to say that God is eternal and vice versa is not fallacious. You have to presuppose God.
Fallacious by definition, though, right? I mean,
Not all cases.
Yes, in all cases.
It's the law of identity. A equals A.
Well, the law of just because you're not violating the law of identity doesn't mean it's not fallacious. Any number of things makes fallacious means that there is an error in logic, thus that you cannot say that the conclusion necessarily follows from the premises. All circular reasoning is fallacious at all times. It doesn't matter whether it comports to or fails to violate any of the laws, such as the law of identity or excluded middle or any of those things. It doesn't have to. A fallacious argument is one in which the conclusion cannot be said to follow logically from the premises because it violates one of the laws of logic. By necessity, all circular reasoning is fallacious by definition. You can look it up. It's any intro to philosophy. It just is by definition. If you have a reason, if you're saying it's not fallacious in some other context than a formal argument, then beautiful. But in terms of a formal argument, a fallacious argument is any one that violates any of the laws of logic, not just identity, but laws of formal logic, and that includes circular reasoning. Any argument that includes circular reasoning is fallacious by definition. This is basic Phil 101. And I mean, there may or may not be a PhD in philosophy.
There's no argument against this. God is who he is. That's
just because there's no argument against it. Anything that's unfalsifiable, there's no argument against it. The question there is, because if you're doing something circular, there is an argument against it. The argument is you have violated the laws of sound logic. Ergo, you've made a fallacious argument. I should say a valid logic. It's a fallacious argument. If it's circular, it's fallacious. That's the definition of. A fallacious argument is one that creates a violation, and your particular violation, which you've said repeatedly, is it's circular. That's one of the.
It doesn't matter. A equals A. God is who he is. God is ultimate perfection, and vice versa. It doesn't matter that it's circular.
Okay, that may be true, but it does mean that you can't create a valid argument. You have failed to create a valid argument to prove that point. You may believe that. You may even be right. But you have failed to demonstrate it because you seem to be unable to do it without committing a logical fallacy.
You could be wrong with just dumb luck. Doesn't mean
you could be right, by the way. I mean, you could be
wrong, right? By dumb luck. Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you have failed to demonstrate it because you're committing a logical fallacy. So it may be that you're completely correct and you don't either have the skills, or maybe nobody has the skills to logically demonstrate it. But what I do know is you cannot say that your argument is valid because you've committed a logical fallacy.
And so what we're going to happen, we're going to have one more response ultimatum. I'm going to let then Nick have a final comment. But then I think John Vance, who normally, this is what I love. Normally the theists come on because they're like these damn atheists. We have once again a theist that's like, yeah, but this Christian. So respond, ultimatum, if you want.
Yes. Any arguments proving something, you have to presuppose what you're trying to prove within the first premise, either directly or indirectly. That's why I stated earlier that we all have to start with a brute fact, and that brute fact has to be circular. That's just the nature of God. There's no getting out of this.
And so, Nick, your final comment. We have been skeptic and ranting on, I think, religion. I swear I'm going to rename this like religion and sex. No.
Hashtag
but it has been.
Wet dreams are from God.
Sweet dreams are made of Yahweh. But I hope you have had fun, and what you got going on in time, on time, and
It's not going to be on time.
That's okay. Neither are we.
Just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Humor me.
Oh God! Well, when you said human, I was just like, "Oh, human." But you didn't take.
I saw you yesterday in EA Dawa.
I was disappointed.
That was me.
So,
yesterday
thank you. It was short, but I had a lot of fun, and I'm so glad. I know you got to cycle lots of people through, so I'm just glad I got 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you. It was very nice. I keep my brains on holding on. Ultimated Christian, pardon me, I apologize. So that was a pleasure meeting you, and it was nice to just have a nice brief discussion. There are very specific rules to making an argument, and I think knowing what those are and making sure that we know what they are because they're true a priori would be worth getting into. But that's for another time. My show is called In Time. News, politics, culture. Amy, I've seen you around trolling in the live chat from time to time. Not enough, to be quite honest, but at any rate, it's always good to see you.
All right, I'll start trolling your channel if you need more trolls in your side.
And I have survived the Borg, so I may be able to come on more.
We've got an interview with Seth Andrews and his deconversion stories coming up on Thursday. That's going to be fun. That was actually pre-recorded, so anyone who's a Seth Andrews fan, I hope you'll check that out. And we've been covering, we usually do news, politics, culture. On occasion, we do either conversion stories or deconversion stories. We've done both. And we're going to be doing the January 6th hearings, not next week, which is going to be, it's an interesting week to take off. I think it's going to be pretty explosive, but nonetheless, that's it. So In Time, news, politics, culture, we cover anything that's breaking news. We cover biggies that are tectonic shifts of which there's been a lot. So we've been streaming a lot recently on SCOTUS and the whole 9 yards. So come in and check us out.
Thanks, Dick.
Thank you so very much, Nick, and I look forward to seeing more news, politics, and I mean, come on, it definitely has to be more $400 suits. But we're sending so much love.
I need to upgrade it. It needs to go to 600, but yeah, we'll it's inflation. The $400 suit has lost value as time goes on. So
hey, that's your boy. Let's go, Brandon.
Woo, great job. Sending love.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Nick.
You, Pat. And all right, it was lovely having you on. We're just going to have John Vance on for a second, and then I think we're heading out.
Thank you, man.
That's okay.
Mwah. John, I can't believe we're saying this. Welcome to Call Me Skeptical. Not the welcome part, but I think that you actually have a question for our theist friend here about brute facts.
Yeah, I just wanted him just to... Can you hear me okay?
Why, yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah, just a quick question. I just jumped in, so I didn't really hear any. I literally just saw your stream and I just jumped in.
Can we blow your mind? John,
and then I heard about something about sex and God, and I heard having sex with God, which is very interesting. That takes a whole new level of piercing of the Holy Spirit. That takes a whole that I can't. I don't know. That's a deep connection with God. I don't know. Yeah, that's crazy. But I guess I don't. I mean, of course, there's another theist here, but I guess the question I had for the atheist was I just wanted him to just specifically in his definition, what does he mean by like a brute fact or like an absolute fact? Does he mean like it's an eternal fact, or is it just like is it an immutable truth, or is it just like it's one fact, 1 year, then 10 years from now it's pardon?
Are you talking to the Christian, or do you want an answer from, or you want to know from an atheist perspective?
Yeah, I wanted to ask the atheist guy. Oh man, we can talk about that all night. Theist stuff. Oh God, that's.
I would just say a brute fact is something that we have to assume without direct proof, but it's something that it just is because it is, because we have to assume it to be true in order for anything else to make sense, but we can't prove it in and of itself. I don't know if Amy wants to
Okay,
expound on that a little bit.
sure.
Okay,
Maybe I could do it just for everybody. Everybody can answer this question. Sure.
Well,
Amy?
there are a minimal amount of things that we should be trying to accept, and I would say what we have are things like the fact that we're conscious, the fact that we are alive.
Reality is real.
And not much more. I can't. And I think that
therefore I
God
am.
is an added, which I think therefore I am. I would link with consciousness.
Interesting. Okay.
And so I think that God is an added presupposition, and so because sometimes we'll get, well, you have to presuppose that consciousness exists, and because of that, it is the same as our brute fact of a God. And I would disagree. I would say we both are stuck with this forced presupposition of conscious because we are conscious. I would even say there's good reasons in the naturalistic world to why we're conscious, that why we sometimes overvalue conscious, in my opinion, because a lot of life doesn't seem to care about it. But once again, you should have the least amount possible, because if you're just assuming shit, then what are we even doing?
We should be looking.
Yes, we should be looking for truth. We should be trying to use logic, reason, evidence. These are how you build strong belief systems.
Models of reality that are accurate.
Yeah. Beamsy says, "Speak for yourself. I am only conscious as there is never enough to drink here." And I'll let you, Ultimated Christian, speak, just because I will say it's and love out there. This is a talk show, but we've been filling it up to 4 just to get interesting perspectives.
Yeah, a brute fact is a fact with one ontological explanation for existing. So to put that into context, yeah.
Go ahead.
So God is God. That's just, he's a brute fact. It's mind-bending, so I accept it. I'll finish. That's my finish.
So it seems there's like, we kind of like, or we all have like 3 different perspectives. I got 3 different perspectives of the same answer. So on we go. I like these debates because they just kind of they always turn into like flame wars, and it's just like it makes good content. So I think we found the source of our controversy here.
Little dumpster fire, ready and waiting.
Well, John's no stranger to that, right?
Yeah. And then maybe I'll answer my own question. I guess a brute fact, or I guess I would prefer like the term absolute fact, would be something that is a immutable, eternal truth that is tested through time and is not a fact one day, and a falsity the next. So it has to be something that is observed eternally, either through non-physical matter or physical matter, or physical matter.
Remove the word brute then, because it really does feel philosophical, because I could say the law of or I said law, the theory of gravity is a fact, because we know that that it works. That things seem to be attracted to each other. Mass seems to be attracted to each other. Clockwork Rex brought it right out. Exactly. But I wouldn't use brute. I would just say that is a fact. That is traditionally what we view as a fact.
And then we would say, where did gravity come from?
Well, where is an interesting
like a why
question. It's like a why question, because it seems to be that there's all sorts of odd in that, like the fact that dark matter seems to be clustering our galaxies together and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean
that's I mean after you go down the rabbit hole for a while, it's only a speculation and faith, right?
That's it. He hit the nail on the head, literally, with that one.
I did what I could. I don't know. I missed the whole thing, so I apologize if I'm out of context.
And so we only have like
I was talking about somebody else.
We only have something in chat, but we love all our atheist theist brothers and sisters. We're only going to go about 10 more minutes, and then we are clocking out. But I have to introduce you. Like I was trying to say, this chivalrous gentleman that we have on the panel is a theist like you have never heard, I've
heard it all. I don't know. I don't know. I've been to places.
So he is in a personal relationship, but it's a unique personal relationship. He's a Christian who has a sexual relationship with God.
Okay.
That's correct. Hence my username, Ultimated Christian. So I have a YouTube channel with
See,
this
you say
same avatar.
hence, but I feel like banging Christ would also be like a hence my username or something. But sure. I love you.
I'm just so obviously it's a male voice, so that would mean it would be a gay sexual relationship, wouldn't it? Because God's
I tried to bring that point up too.
Well, gay can mean happy. Gay has multiple meanings.
A homosexual behavior.
Well, God's
with same
non-binary.
sex.
See, he's in a non-binary relationship. He's in a postmodern
he's in a
sexual relationship. Come on, you said you heard it all. Come on. Where else are you gonna get this? Come on.
Yeah, I can't help laugh though. Come on.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure James and I are like 80% sure we heard him almost laugh. But then we had someone come on earlier who basically was trying to vouch that he's real. We're not really sure what's real anymore. This is why we're skeptics, because, well, but we love you. We love you both. Now. We love you. Look,
wow,
it's
this
laugh
is awkward.
or cry. Laugh or cry.
I just feel like the guy who came in late at the party and like everyone's already drunk and passed out, and I'm like, "Hey guys," and it's kind of awkward. And
there's like this dude over here having sex with God. Look, I understand.
Hey guys, the Quran says not to drink alcohol. You guys are all in trouble.
What are you telling? Yeah, screw you, Muslim. We're having sex with God. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'm just the wet blanket now.
It happens. Beamsy says, I am in a sexual relationship with God. Isn't that just a fancy way of saying they can go F themselves? Yes. Yes, I think it is.
So when you wake up, and I think everybody's experienced it, but when you wake up and there's a little something going on down there, you know why now, that God was touching you in your sleep.
Yeah, he could choose what he wants to do. So
Yeah.
you may, yeah.
Morning
so you could be right.
wood is from a gift of God.
Now, I could now I could get to some dark places, some dark questions, but
we know.
I would maybe not to stream, but I just have some questions
Not
about unlimited question, ultimate
don't
Christian,
ruin an
maybe childhood.
intellectual
Let's just say that.
stream like this. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
We are
Yeah.
highbrow, big
Right.
brain moments here.
Right. So I think I'm gonna head out. That's yeah.
I'm sorry, but I will say, John,
we weirded out John Vance.
That's quite a feat. It's just I have questions and I don't think it's YouTube appropriate. Let's just say that.
You are not the first theist, I believe, to say that tonight, so it's okay. But John, we have been asking people to call me skeptical, I believe, on religion, but let's just go religion, sex.
Sure.
One of those.
Def Leppard.
Hope you had a good time. I didn't mean to I was getting super excited. I can't help myself. When you have this much of a treasure, you just want to share.
Well, I'm glad you.
She is very giving. She is very giving, John. You have to give.
Not
her
as
that.
giving as God, though. Apparently.
Attempted sodomy. Get that shit out of here.
But yes, what are your final thoughts? What are your final thoughts on religion in general?
Well, religion, I guess, religare is to control, and I think I've kind of endowed myself as a watchman to ask the church for repentance. I believe that there's probably a lot of atheists out there who had bad experience with religion, and so have I. But I believe that I have been made some sort of, I guess, by faith, a watchman in the Bible that, one day that the church will turn antichrist and it will, and the sheep will flock. And this kind of, I'd have to say, disturbing rhetoric is, no offense. I'm just saying. That's all I could just be blunt as possible. Disturbing rhetoric about ancient relationship with God. That's just like
all the fun.
That's like alarm bells for me. I know it makes good content, but for me, it's like alarm bells, and it's just like,
I just can't help it. You're the second theist to say that today. I can't help but get excited.
Yeah. It's hard to get past. It's just one of those things, right? Yeah. It's the same thing with the Jesse Lee Peterson thing,
John.
It's the same thing with the Jesse Lee Peterson thing, like with the homosexual allegations.
You were surprised to find out that he was gay?
He was less amazing.
I've had a hint, like there was something wrong, and I guess like now that they've, like, when I watched the documentary, he was sexually, like he didn't have he wasn't married for like a long time. He did have a son.
He's never been married. He does have a son. He's been engaged twice.
Oh, he has a son.
Yeah.
What was it? One of his oh shit, I forget his name. I'm horrible with names. But it was one of his workers that he's like one of his first guys that he was protesting with. He got married, and then he had a sexual relationship with, like, he was saying that he knows he's met Jesse's son. So I know he has a son. But it's just when you like when you sexually repress yourself and you deny that you are a physical creature. I do see this a lot in theist circles. They kind of deny it, and when they repress it, it comes out in weird ways, which is unfortunate.
You mean sex in general, or repress his homosexuality?
No, he means
just in general. This
sometimes Islam.
Just in general. I'm just gonna say just in general for the sake of this stream tonight. But but the thing is, like, I'm not even surprised, right? Like, it's just like, well, that's just another notch on the church belt of pastors sexually abusing their congregates. It's sad but true. And a lot of what they
It's
practice,
hypocritical
Christians,
behavior.
yeah, a
Going
lot of what they
out and
practice is
mocking and belittling gay people while you yourself are a gay person.
pardon.
I said going out and attacking, maligning, belittling, and besmirching the character of gay people when you yourself are a gay person actively having sex with men. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's yeah, you seem to have a bit of I mean, I get what his biblical viewpoints are, but yeah, in terms of that, it's not really good.
Biblically
And
speaking.
I can't really watch them anymore. It's kind of really hard.
Yeah.
And I've called in their show all the time. It's just it's now I don't know if I can now. I don't even know if I could bring it up on a show and call them out on it, but because they'll just probably just hang up on me. But yeah, it's something that needs to be dealt with. You need to deal with your skeletons in your closet. Let's just say that. If I were to leave, if I were to contribute to this thing, deal with the skeletons in your closet, either if you're religious or not. That's my answer. There you go. That's all I'm going to say. Good night.
Night, John. Thank you so very much for talking skeptical with her, calling me skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ultimated Christian. It was nice having you with us.
It's been a wild ride.
It was a fascinating, conversations. I appreciate that. Even though we disagree with you, you also got some heat from people that may, fellow brother theists, exactly. And so we appreciate that. We would like to offer you any final words. We have been calling me skeptical on religion.
We have some great parting gifts for you behind backstage.
And they vibrate.
See, you can try it out on God. He might like it.
Yeah, I understand you have to leave soon, so I'll just be brief. Yeah, if anyone wants to debate me on this, message me through my YouTube channel. I'll finish with that. Thanks for having me.
Woo-hoo, it was nice having you, Ultimated Christian.
It was something.
It was lovely, and sending a good night.
See, Dessel saying he had a debate on historicity of Jesus.
Debate. But do you know what this reminds me of? Jordan and I had a historical Jesus debate. Okay, if you're interested, you can find a big comment. Woo! What is up, Dessel? I know that I was supposed to. I have to respond to emails. Because I've been absorbed into the Borg, but I'm out of the Borg, so now I should be able to respond to them. But go check that out.
Debate Cafe. Is that a YouTube channel or the Discord?
I'm trying to think if that's a YouTube channel or if there's also one sort of program that is like Open Cafe or something. Oh, it's a YouTube channel.
YouTube channel, okay.
Boopity-boo.
Oh, thank you, Mark. And don't forget, guys, this coming Tuesday,
needs OnlyFans.
This coming Tuesday, Mark Reid will be on Standing for Truth debating Ken Hovind, and we are going to host that after show Tuesday night. Victory celebration. Mark's going to demolish him. It's going to be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss it. I mean, I almost feel bad for Ken. Almost. Deserves it. He deserves it. He's the shenanigans he pulled last debate. Yeah.
And all right, we have had a wild ride. That was fascinating. Like I said, this should be called Call Me Skeptical, Sex and Religion.
What's that? Say something funny. It's like say something batshit crazy.
Like, see, here's the problem with. So both of the theists go, oh, something's wrong over here. Yeah. But I think that the atheist, we can't help ourselves because this is what most creationists sound like to us. Like he's like one step up because he doesn't just have an imaginary friend. Somehow his imaginary friend gets him to climax. Impressive. Well, but
they all use circular arguments and special pleadings, but he's just they'll at least ostensibly say, no, it's not circular. No, that's not no, Amy, that's not a special pleading. But he's just like, yes, it's circular. It doesn't matter. It's still true. It's special pleading. That's just God. That's who he is. It just is.
Reservoir Core is like epic stuff. Love the Playboy fantasies tonight. I know.
I saw that video too, Porpoise.
I just want to know. But sounds like young Ferrex. I just want to know, if he and God just crack open a nice bottle of wine and just.
Well, he says he doesn't smoke afterwards, so.
Okay. Well, he doesn't smoke, but maybe he shares a nice glass with they, and
well,
who knows? They get down and dirty.
That might be pretty cool because remember from the Bible, so he could just bring a bottle of water into the bed, and Jesus could just zap and change it into wine. There you go.
It's very handy
and cheaper.
Way cheaper. Can have a fish dinner afterwards. I feel like it's the whole thing. What a great partner.
Now we'll find out where that fish really comes from, which orifice it comes out of.
Exactly. And which orifice it goes back into. But I think on that note, I hope you all had a fantastic time on this episode of Call Me Skeptical, Religion plus Sex, where tonight we opened up the internet phone lines to help us get a therapist to help us see if anyone can understand why anyone would believe in religion for a divinely good time. Better than chocolate. Better than
Jesus will be happy to make you
sex, but
Jesus will be happy to make Shane some fish and chips.
Exactly. A nice little dip. And then a wine.
Shane, he will turn you into a fisher of men.
Oh. He also likes long walks on the beach, but then you get to walk on the water. How cool is that?
Yeah. She's like, I don't need a dock. Fuck a dock.
Screw that shit.
I'll just walk right out there.
God damn it. Oh, my lordy, I love you all. We opened up the internet phone lines. We had a divinely good time.
For better or for worse.
For better or for worse. I want to thank my co-host, James W., along with our guests, Scott, Porpoise, Ultimated, tip of a hat, Ralph, Nick, and John, woo, along with the people in chat, woo, our awesome mods.
Thanks, guys.
Who make this stream so great, and lovely viewers like you who make this channel even possible. Please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. Woo! Because then you get access to that all button icon, which will send you reminders to join our live streams, or hey, leave a comment once the video's done. After the show, we'll be heading over to the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server, the link of which is in the description below, along with our channel members. Woo! In fact, we'll add sending an extra shout out to Brian Stevens. Woo-hoo!
Our newest member. Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Lastly, if you'd like to help us make even more content, we offer some perks for our supporters by checking out our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic.
Good night, guys.
Ball Z. Good night, everyone. Mwah.